did the army bring a masculine environment?
What is it like there?
The muscle needs to be torn apart to grow.
Exactly.
And why is it any different for the mind or the spirit, right?
We're so free that people are so bored that they change their gender.
Yeah, right? Imagine you have
insane.
nothing else to do
No
there.
matter your situation, do what you would do, not what someone else would do.
Do you think it's a bad idea or a bad thing that you're not allowed to be childish in that environment?
It is better to have something and not need it than to need it and
And not have it. Exactly. And what is the one big issue that you see happening with people?
There's too much hate.
David, what
Really?
is your best advice to somebody in life?
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Bros Think Big podcast. This is the show where we talk about the simple and yet complicated ideas of self-improvement. Tune in and join us as we become the best versions of ourselves, just so that you guys can too. And always remember to like and subscribe for more. Today we were able to bring in an exciting guest, someone that's fighting for the country as we speak. David, come on in.
Woo! No, not that.
What's up, fellas?
Don't know what we just saw there, but okay. Thanks for coming on, bro. So for starters,
Actually, there was a hidden camera right behind you.
for starters, thank you for serving. Much respect.
Thank you, sport.
Yeah, so we have a lot to unpack with this one because this is interesting. This is the first time Andrea serves, but this is the second time that we've been able to bring on a guest from the military, and there's just a lot of questions that I have, like, personally about that. Like, I want to kind of dive into, like, what the lifestyle looks like there, and then we're going to transition to how that can form into, like, a masculine environment and how it can produce masculine men. So why don't you just get started, give us a little short, brief summary about yourself, what we need to know.
I've been in the Army for about 2 years. I enlisted when I was 17, middle of my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
My recruiter he was a good recruiter. Most people that enlist usually say the recruiter fucked them. My recruiter didn't. He did me pretty well. Job was what it was supposed to be. He didn't lie to me anything about basic training. Basic training was mostly mental, honestly. If you are in any physical shape at all, you can pass basic training. If you can run, you can pass basic training.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely something I want to talk about later. What made you want to join the Army in the first place?
My brother was a very big influence on me. My dad left when I was about 7 years old, so I was mostly raised by a single mother. And my brother kind of filled the void of a masculine figure in my life.
Tough.
He definitely pushed me hard to be better than him because he saw me making his mistakes and he was like, no, I want you to be better. And then he enlisted as a mechanic into the Army and he was like, hey, I think the Army is something you should heavily consider. And around middle of my senior year in high school, like around December, he took me to the recruiter's office and he had a chat with him, ended up enlisting. I went to MEPS. It's basically they're pre-programmed to enlist.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
There's physical clearance, mental clearance, all that.
Do you think most people have, like, that type of sibling influence that people that join an army? Because I know a lot of it is, like, influence got people just genuinely wanting to fight for the country, or they have, like, some sort of purpose that aligns with that. Like, what does that look like there?
So the Army is incredibly diverse. Any armed forces, you have people from all walks of life. You have immigrants like myself. Like, I wasn't born here. I was born in Ukraine. I had to renounce my Ukrainian citizenship when I enlisted because I had to get a security
I
clearance.
didn't even know that. Now I know.
No,
Fun fact.
Yeah.
There's people that grew up in the hood and want to get away from crime, drugs, and all that bad stuff. They want to get away from that, so they enlist. You have people that just want to be in the Army because their grandpa or their father was in the Army.
Some people also, because they're weak and they want to get stronger. I've also heard stories like that.
Some of those, yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely people, though. I haven't seen any personally.
Right, I've heard stories.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a beautiful thing from the Army. Like, this isn't disclosed strictly to just the Army, but you get to hear so many, like, different perspectives and insights when you're into the Army.
100%.
Exactly, like you said, like, there's so many different people that are diversified. And again, this isn't just disclosed to the Army only. Like, you can just go outside and have a conversation. You'll find the same thing.
Yeah.
But you're closer with them in the Army. So I think that's a really beautiful thing. That's part of the reason why I think the whole military is big on the idea that iron sharpens iron and like really transforming into masculine men. It's because of that environment you see so many different perspectives, and that's part of like a stepping stone and being able to accept that to what it really looks like to be like a masculine man in a way. We're definitely going to dive deeper into that, but that's just something I thought is really interesting.
Yeah.
So in your eyes, what do we think it really means to be masculine?
I think it's a very subjective question. because to me, masculinity means one thing. To some random stranger off the street, it could be a completely different thing. To me, it just means to be unapologetically yourself, but never to shove it in somebody's face. Don't be an ass. Be yourself. Be kind. Don't hate. That's what it means to me.
Yeah, I really like that answer, because what we want to do next is we want to talk about like why men in today's society just like haven't really fit that description. It's like they're not really being themselves. They're just doing something that's either been forced upon them or they're aligning with someone else's interests. So why do you think in today's society we are seeing what I just described?
I think the internet has a very large role to play with that, because people are getting softened. Their life is getting easier with the internet. You can now work remotely. You can now do basically any job just through the internet.
Yeah,
you can be a
right.
contractor through the internet. You don't have to be out there in the sun slaving away with everybody else. You can just be in an AC on a laptop.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I kind of have like the internet in my eyes is a double-edged sword, because you can
Very much so.
go to find an online community and you can find people that are willing to help you with your problems and help you tackle it. But in the same way, you can find an online community that you go to escape your problems, which is exactly why I think the internet is dangerous, because that's what a lot of people do. They go online and they find people that, hey, I need you to help validate my weakness in a way, because I want you to tell me that I'm not as I don't need to be this or whatever, and I want you to tell me that I don't have to be strong.
Like, tell me
or
what I
like
wanna
masculine.
hear.
Exactly. Like it's an excuse. It's a place to go run away and to escape their feelings. So escape
sure.
their responsibilities, especially. So I want to talk about, like, in terms of internet, how do you think you can stay away from that, and how do you find like a right group to really
Push you to
differentiate from that?
So I don't think there's a good way to escape the internet, because especially nowadays, if you want to live a fairly connected life with all your friends, with a job, you need to have some connection with the internet. I think what you need to have is discipline to keep yourself off of the internet and giving yourself brain rot, getting yourself addicted to all these short form videos that feed you just nothing but dopamine the entire time. The only good way I can see yourself staying away from it is like acknowledging that if you do have a problem, you have to acknowledge it so that way you can work on it. But you can also do like outside activities. You can go hit the gym, you can go rock climbing, you can go hiking, you can do a sport outside. There's plenty of communities outside that will gladly help you.
Yeah, for
No,
sure.
that's great. Love that.
How did the army bring a masculine environment?
What is it like there?
It's in short words, it's traumatizing, just straight up. It's called trauma.
Yeah, I've heard
bonding.
that.
No, it's just straight up trauma bonding, because you're horrified of any day, because the drill sergeants at basic training will instill fear into you every day, because you're just scared of what's the next exercise they're going to have us do for the next hour. So you confide in your fellow soldiers, your battle buddies, in what's going to happen. So
How do they do that?
I mean, I think that's a blessing in disguise, because it
Yeah.
forces you to become uncomfortable every single day, to
Very
the point
much.
where I'm sure now any circumstance at any moment can appear, and you're just unfazed because this is a ritual to you.
yeah.
Like, that's exactly why they do it.
Yeah, it's a rite of passage. They try to make you as uncomfortable as possible. Our first night out in the field at basic training, we got rained. It was the middle of summer. Like, I went in July, and I graduated basic in September. But we had a night outside, and it was raining, like pissing rain. Everybody else got under their tarps, so we also got under our tarps. Our drill sergeant came over and said, "Why the fuck are y'all under your tarps? Put that over your gear and sit in the goddamn rain." And it dropped to like 60, which doesn't sound that bad, but with
When it
wind
rains,
and
yeah.
rain,
Like
we
that.
were
That's different.
shivering. And they called for 50% security, which means at least one person in a battle buddy team had to be awake. And a battle buddy team is nothing but, it's just two people. So half of the platoon was awake, and then the other half was asleep. So it was hour-long shifts
Wow.
for like
Wow.
7 hours.
And you had to be
In the
outside.
middle of the night.
Had to be outside in the middle of the night. And they would throw like fake smoke bombs, fake frags, fake flashbangs. They would run in there and pretend to be enemies, and if they killed you, big bad.
Yeah, and I love how this is exactly like aligning with what I was just saying with the internet. Like, because we're talking about how you have to be you put in these uncomfortable scenarios. What the internet allows you to do is it allows you to find a community that lets you be comfortable, but you can see the growth through the growth through being put in an uncomfortable situation, what that really looks like, because yeah, it sucks like going through what you're describing. It sucks, but how else do you expect to grow? I love
become
the saying,
stronger.
Exactly, yeah. I love the saying where it's the muscle needs to be torn apart to grow.
Exactly.
And why is it any different for the mind or the spirit, right? And that's exactly what instills discipline in you in the first place. So
I don't think you can grow mentally without being uncomfortable.
I don't find how you can either, honestly, because if you're always just getting what you want, then you're never gonna understand what
You're not gonna have an understanding of a struggle.
Exactly.
So the moment something gets hard, you just give up.
and conform. Exactly.
I also want to ask you a different question. I know you kind of said you were influenced by your brother, but I remember in high school, you were pretty clear on going to the army, and that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Was there anything else other than just the fact that your brother went there and all that kind of stuff?
I honestly,
your personal want?
not really. I honestly probably would not have enlisted if it wasn't for him.
Okay.
I don't know where I would be without him. But I'm here with
Yeah.
him, thankfully.
That's
But
great.
yeah, outside of that, the Army provides a lot of good benefits for college. They give you health care. They'll give you any benefit you realistically need. If you need to live, they will give it to you.
Okay.
Just any basic survival need.
Yeah. And how did you experience growing as a person through those trainings, just what they put you through, and if you've seen your friend or somebody that just grew as a person, through those activities or something?
I definitely matured a lot through that because it was not a childish environment. It was a very tough environment. They allowed no moments of weakness. But if you showed an actual moment of weakness where you needed support, your fellow battle buddies and your DIs will be there for you.
Right. Okay.
There is a support system.
Okay.
Because every moving part fails eventually. No matter how hard you push it, it will fail.
Okay.
So there is a support system in place.
And how does that kind of look like?
A very tough love environment. Those drill sergeants, your fellow battle buddies, want you to be better, but they will also push you. They're not scared to push you to be better.
Right.
They will push you as much as they can.
Okay.
Till your limit.
Do you think it's a bad idea or a bad thing that you're not allowed to be childish in that environment?
I think no, because it's still prolific being childish. Because the highest stress environments bring out the worst in people. So I think having a moment of comedy, of relaxation, is very big. So you need to have a moment of relaxation, some kiddiness, when you're that high stress. So there's definitely a lot of tomfoolery happening, especially inside of our barracks, after on the weekends when we have our days off, basically. There's a lot of shenanigans happening.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything really too wrong with that. I like the way you put it, or else just the burnout is inevitably due.
That's very, very fast.
I think it's very important to keep your childish part inside of you.
Yeah, it's if you're not that type of person, then the good thing about the military is that there's a whole diverse group of people like we just talked about, and you can find people that are also more stone cold and more serious, don't really entail into that county section. This is your second year, right?
Yes.
So obviously you're not the most experienced, but I want to ask you, have you seen any first years that when they come into the military and then a year later there's just a huge change in character, change in masculinity, change in perspective?
I honestly haven't, but I have seen people get comfortable. Basically, they'll be very secluded and they'll be very stoic, and then I have seen them just kind of open up with the unit, basically, show their humanity.
Yeah.
They take off the uniform basically, and they show us that we are people, just in a uniform.
Yeah.
Learn how to show their emotions and learn
basically.
how to. Yeah, exactly. That's good.
Okay, that's it. I feel like that's definitely something you're gonna see along the line. How
100%.
how in military terms, how long is this a thing for? What is your plan with this? Where do you see this going in the future? It's just something you stick with forever.
Yeah.
Or?
So the Army has all military has basically they will retire you at 20 years, but I have NCOs that are our retention NCO, readiness NCO has 32 years in the Army. They cut you off at 20. but you can just like move past that.
Yeah. Like,
So he did 32 years and he loves this. Like he lives for it.
Yeah, you're not gonna do it for 32 years if you don't have a
I'll
passion
do it for 20. Because then I actually get full benefits to retire. They'll give me a pension and everything after 20 years.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
And I'll retire at 37.
So then it's definitely something along the line you'll see. I guarantee you'll start to see that transition more often, which I feel like that's really interesting because it's important to be able to observe that and be able to entail others into maybe recruiting. If like, hey, if you're having a hard time finding your purpose, because this is like a talk I've had with my best friend who's in the Air Force. That he joined the army to find like a sense of strength and to find a sense of purpose as well. So it's really interesting. But it's busted either way. It's up.
No.
Go.
No, it's good. Yeah.
It's cool.
Can you make sure to keep the mic close?
Yeah, wait.
Is this good?
Put it in your mouth.
Is this okay?
Wait.
Yeah, you're good.
Wait.
Yeah, now it's good.
I have to sneeze. No, I
Let's-
don't. Anyways, what was I saying?
About your friend.
Finding a sense of purpose.
Yeah. So I think it's important that people will find that. It's important for you to be able to observe that because then you can really go out and you can like inform others about that too. So that's just another interesting thing. Let's see what else we want to dive into.
I also know that people can quit like if it's too much stress and stuff. But where is the part where the captains or the sergeant there are saying, okay, I think you should leave, or is there even a situation where they're allowed to do that, like just kick somebody out, or they don't
Drill
do that?
instructors are not allowed to just be like, no, you're done. They're not allowed to do that.
Right.
But eventually, a trainee can just go like, hey, drill sergeant, I think I'm done. I can't go on. And that's when the drill sergeants will, because they wear the campaign hats. They'll take off their drill sergeant hat. And they'll take off their uniform and they'll show their humanity then. When you're at a low point, they'll show it. So we've had soldiers. I've seen people
that makes
quit.
sense.
Like at the beginning of basic training, my platoon was 60 people. It was massive.
Wow.
And at the end, I think we had 40.
Wow. So 20.
Third drop down just like that.
Left like that. Some of them went to other units, like other basic training units. Some of them just straight up quit. Like I've seen a lot of injuries make people have to leave. Like I've seen a lot of hip injuries.
Okay.
Like because we're ruck marching, a lot of people like don't know how to ruck properly, so they'll ruin their hips. They'll get sent to medical, and they'll be like, "Hey,
Wait, what is that?
What do you?"
Ruck marching.
ruck
What
marching.
does that look like?
Oh, it's just backpacking with a heavy backpack.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I think you talked about it. You put
Yeah.
weights in there. Okay.
No, it's
Yeah.
not weights. It's all your gear. Your gear is just heavy.
Oh, okay.
And the backpacks aren't made to be lightweight,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of hip injuries,
back
shoulders,
too.
joints. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
that's one of the ways that
Yeah,
somebody
you can
just-
or you can just straight up be like, "Hey, I don't want to do this anymore. Can I leave?"
Right.
They'll do that. I've seen that.
Do
One
they
person.
try to?
They'll
kinda
try to
like-
encourage you
yeah,
to stay, but outside of that, they can't change your mind.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
Just curious, do you keep in touch with any of the people that like
For basic training,
that dropped out?
with that dropped out, I
Yeah.
follow a few of them on Instagram, but outside of that, no.
I wanted to see like what the like
Like
I
other
feel like it would've
lifestyle
been-
after that
Yeah,
would be
yeah. Like, did they just like get complacent at home? Like, of course, there's different like reasons, whatever, to drop out. But I feel like it would have been interesting to see, the difference in between them being in the military and them dropping out, like through just a mindset shift.
Yeah.
But anyways,
And if they choose to come back, how can they do that, or what is?
I'm not certain. I
Okay.
think they can come back. I just don't know how the logistics of that would be.
Yeah.
okay. So
And they don't give you any type of break to kind of be like, all right, you probably need some time, like maybe a couple days to take off and just think it. Nothing like that. They just you either want it or not, that type of thing. Okay. Because yeah, it's pretty harsh. I mean, I think that's true because they have to ultimately prepare you to be a soldier and to fight in a war. So
Yes.
you don't really get to. Plus, you don't want somebody that's weak there.
Yeah.
Like realistically, that's how they have to look at it, and I don't blame them. Just like they told you to sit in the rain. It's like you will have to go through those experiences. So the best thing they can do for you guys is prepare you for it, not make you weak and soft when the actual scenario rises up and you're weak and you don't know what to do. The enemy's gonna win. So and you're gonna die. So it's like they're pretty much preparing you to be strong and not lose your life pretty much. So, you know, you just have to be thankful for that instead of trying to complain on why they're putting you through such brutal
We still
workouts. Or
complain.
yeah.
We only complain
That's-
when it doesn't make sense. Like drill sergeant or not drill sergeant, like sergeant. It is 1900. Why are we still here? We're done. Why are we not released?
But it's
Stuff
like it doesn't make sense to you guys, but they know why they're doing it and why they're making you do it. Because there's a
Sometimes-
purpose behind it. It has to be.
Sometimes there just straight up isn't a purpose behind it. Sometimes your senior leadership will just be assholes, and they'll be like, "No, I leave here at 2100, 8 o'clock. So everybody else here will also leave."
That's 9 o'clock.
21? I thought it's. You're right. It is 9 o'clock.
Did you get used to
But-
saying military time like that?
I got very quickly used to it, and then I've kind of transitioned out of it, and now I'm like halfway in and halfway out of it
Okay,
as National
yeah.
Guard. So I'm just like, it's time.
I feel like because just hearing you say 1900 is like, ooh, that's different. Like, I don't know, it just feels weird.
But it's
That's-
also,
I'm
I
back
think,
on
kind of respect to teaching you guys respect to, you know, respect those that are in charge
Yeah,
and just
100%.
do what they tell you to do.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you
They're in
as
charge,
soldiers,
their
you have to
leadership.
exactly
Yeah,
their leadership. So
we have to follow their orders.
yeah, so I feel like there's always a lesson behind something, even if it doesn't make sense at the moment. You have to find a reason because, I mean, I think being a soldier is really a lot of discipline and a lot of thinking on, like, it's not really about me, but it's about the team. So you know, when you think, oh, they shouldn't really be making me do that, it's like, no, just put your head down and do what they tell you to do, kind of thing. And that's one of the ways that you can learn discipline in the army. Yeah.
So now that we've established that the military is like a strongly or a heavier masculine environment than rather not, a lot of men right now in the world are struggling to find how to be masculine, or they're looking for certain traits that they can instill within themselves. Let's dive into some of these traits that we have like written down here. But before we do, what are some off the top of your head that you can think of? Like, what are some of the drastic changes you've seen people experience?
Maturity. A lot of people go from like being silly, goofy individuals to being like, hey, this is serious. This is like real life. I need to like, in brain rot terms, lock in.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of that. Like, I even did that. I used to be very silly. I don't know if you two remember from high school.
Yeah, we do.
I was
Right.
a goofball. But yeah, I've definitely matured a lot. A lot of people also mature. Some
I
people
see
just
that.
go in there mature and then just leave more
Mature.
disciplined.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
And you can always
Yeah.
be more mature, you know,
Yeah,
and grow your
100%.
maturity.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I don't think it's a bad thing to, like what we discussed earlier, to keep in touch with that, like, childish.
It's very necessary.
Exactly, but there are moments in time where you do need to lock in,
Yeah.
respectfully, like, because the shit is, like, life is a very unfair environment, and the shit isn't just rainbows and sunshines.
Yeah.
So, besides the maturity thing, is there anything else you think before we just dive into this?
That's strength. I mean, that just comes with the physical training.
Yeah.
What about taking the concept of, you know, serving your country seriously? You know what I mean? Like you're there serving your country, and you
Because
might
the
be
army
the
is
person
just so diverse, a lot of people don't join it to be like,
To serve
I'm
country?
serving my country. A lot of people do it. I did it for benefits.
right.
My brother influenced me, and then he showed me the benefits. I was like, this is worth it. I can get a house for free. I can get car payments almost paid off. Any loans that I have, college for free.
Yeah.
It's just helpful.
Okay. And like I just kind of want to ask you a question. What do you think? Do you think like anybody that really joins the army should always have a thought in the back of their mind that, okay, if I get, you know, if I need to serve my country, I can't just kind of be like, nah, not me. I need to step in as one of the person that serves in the army to step up and be like, okay, I'm gonna serve my country because I think I need to.
I don't know, man. A lot of people do it. I've definitely seen people just be like, I want to serve my country.
Yeah.
And hats off to them.
Right.
But I don't think I would have joined outside of the benefits. I just don't see there's not enough pros to weigh out the cons.
I mean, dude, you're serving your country. Do you think there has to be anything more to that?
That is definitely a very noble cause,
Yeah.
and definitely people can admire to be like that.
Right.
I'm going to be humble here. I don't think I'm better than outside of they give me benefits. That's the main reason I joined.
I think you can be. It's really a mindset thing.
It's definitely a mindset.
I do see where you're coming from, though.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to push you anywhere or anything, but I'm just trying to kind of understand like where your mindset is at. And at the same time, I feel like one thing that I actually disagree with is how people serve their country and what they do. They put their lives at risk and they come out. And in my opinion, they don't really get the respect they should, nor do they get paid the amount of money that they should for the damage that they take, like mental and physical. And, the fact that so many soldiers come back and they're suicidal and some of them kill themselves, it's like you just served your country and you come back and you want to kill yourself. Like that's heavy, that's deep. That means they don't respect you when you step here, because I have a friend who's also in the army, and he told me that they come back as regular people and they work 9 to 5. Like that's pathetic if you ask me. Somebody that served the country, was willing to die for the country, and lost the ability to think properly or even move properly, and has to work 9 to 5 and really get no respect. I think it's
But
it's bad.
You know how you mentioned like killing, they kill themselves and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not only because they don't respect, like other people don't respect them. It's also because they're
Yeah. It's true. I should have said that
they
too.
are heavily
That is also a
traumatized.
lot of exactly.
So
Yeah.
They can't, like, because when they go to sleep, sometimes they have the memory like go back
Yeah.
to bombing or whatever, and they just want to take the suffering away.
Yeah, and I know there's some supporting systems where they support those veterans that come back from wars and stuff, and helping them with their mental health. But I feel like there's still something more we can do than we do, because we don't really take it seriously, nor do especially today's generation look at those men as noble people and really respect them as much as we should. Sometimes they go like, "Oh, I don't give a shit. That was their choice." It's like, come on, dude. If that man didn't go to war, it could be one of us. You know what I mean? So it's like the least we can do is respect them with our mouth. And if we can't do that with our mouth, I don't know how we can act that out.
Yeah, I remember. So when we came out of Vietnam, and it was a very controversial time.
Yeah.
When our troops came home, everybody told them to go kill themselves, go fuck yourself, baby killers, monsters. They came home after spending weeks, months, years in actual hell, having to fight every day is a struggle you don't know if you'll see tomorrow.
And Japanese were brutal, bro.
Vietnamese.
Like they were. Yeah. Well. Oh, okay.
What are you
Yeah.
You're wrong.
I said Japanese,
Oh, Vietnamese.
but yeah. But it's close to it, right?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. We know we didn't pass geography.
They were very good at guerrilla warfare, right?
Yeah, they grew up in the jungle, and we come from concrete jungles, two very different jungles.
Okay. I heard that they just completely outplayed us.
Basically,
Fuck
yeah,
yeah.
we lost Vietnam.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They won't say it. but
They
we
won't.
lost.
I mean, it depends on who you ask. But
Yeah.
when they came home, all they wanted to be like, the troops just wanted to be welcome home.
Right.
But everybody there was very anti-war, and they hated them. So whenever, nowadays especially, if I see like anybody wearing a Vietnam veteran hat, I'll always say like, welcome home. Because they were not welcomed.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really too educated on it, so I don't want to speak too much on it, but that's still really, like, that's hardening
Messed
to
up.
hear, like, that you don't even get recognized as, like, I like baby killing, whatever, like, I'm not too familiar with what really went down there. I never really paid attention in history class, but, still, is, like, pretty hard to hear.
And it's not like
Just wow.
they don't. It's not like they purposely go and just kill a baby and stuff. It's just that's what happens in a war, and people are just ignorant to acknowledge that when these men go to war, their purpose isn't to kill babies, because if you do, then you're crazy. Their purpose is to serve your country so you're safe, and then you're complaining to them why they saved your life. It's pathetic. You know what I mean? I mean, there's really no other word for that.
Just a lack of respect.
You know, we can really tie this in with like America and how really free we actually are because of these people who fought for us. And I feel like a lot of people, especially young guys, they take that for granted. They take for granted the freedom, the abundance they live in. They don't get to see it. They live with a negative mindset. They don't really get to see what they actually have. And it's like the whole book, The Hard Times Create Strong
Exactly.
Men. What's the cycle like? Hard times, strong men create
Create good times, good
times.
times. Yeah.
Create weak men.
Weak men. create
Create
good times.
hard
Or hard
times.
times. Hard times
Hard times
create
create
strong
strong
men, and then
Yeah.
in the cycle.
That's pretty much it. And I feel like right now, like we're in a state of weakness. And I mean, knowing myself and what I used to go through, like just taking for granted, like I'd play video games all day, not go outside, not live out the fresh air, not push myself in things, just be overloaded with sugar, instant gratification. You mean on my phone, I had everything there. I had the girls on there. I had the entertainment. I had, plenty of food in the house. God bless, right? But, and a lot of people, they take that for granted. I mean, today we're talking about masculinity in some way. And so it's like, well,
That's literally where it comes from, yeah.
yeah, like, what are your thoughts on, guys, like, nowadays? Like, how can, from you being in the military, what are some things that guys nowadays, especially guys who are weak, like, what I'm talking about, they're filled with dopamine from instant gratification, how can, you instill your lessons on them? Like, what would you want to teach them? Or give advice on?
Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Nothing in
Such
life.
army advice.
Yeah,
Love
it's
it.
just straight up
Love
army
it.
advice, but it is just also advice. Nothing in life is comfortable. Change. If you're going to transition from high school to college, that's a big change. Sorry. You have to get uncomfortable. You're going to be living on your own for the first time. You're going to be self-sufficient for the first time. That's uncomfortable for most people to think about.
Right.
Then from there, from college, you're now moving out. You have to now work a 9 to 5. You now have to go buy your own groceries, pay your own utilities. Change. It's uncomfortable.
Exactly.
You're removing any comfortability from your life that your parents provided you, and now you're earning it on your own. Or
Exactly.
maybe you never knew comfortability. You never knew convenience.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid somebody grew up poor family.
Yeah.
Drugs. I've seen that in the army. I've seen
Right.
people come from as low as possible to, I have 3 businesses and I'm doing this to change a career.
Right.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of stuff is turning from physical trauma to more towards mental, psychological trauma nowadays. And especially a couple weeks ago, before we left it, like after we left the podcast, Musadul and Georgia were outside on the lawn out here.
Yeah.
And we were just looking around, just like we actually have the freedom here. We had an episode with Cole. After the episode with Cole, we realized like, wow, it's like this country, like we can literally stand on this lawn. We can hang out with our friends, have a podcast, you know what I mean, and just be free.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great thing. And I feel like I said, a lot of people take that for granted, and they don't really know how to, like, it's like this void, right? And men nowadays, like, oh, like there's something missing. Like, what am I doing? And they don't realize that if they keep distracting themselves from fulfilling that void, then it's like they're gonna keep living that lifestyle. So it's like really look at the life around you, be grateful for it, and start, like you said, get outside the comfort zone.
And the freedom that we had from those that died before us to give the freedom to this country, and we take that for granted, eventually it's going to lead down to the generations to, having to go through that to, and probably even tougher times. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but people just need to acknowledge that that's just what's going to happen. You can't just live in a country that's free and take that for granted and not even think how you even got that freedom. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, I got it. It was just free like that."
It's my life.
It cost
It's my life.
a
YOLO,
lot of
right?
soldiers' lives, a lot of bloodshed, and that's why we're free. That is really the only reason why we're free, and it's the only reason why, we can, not have to be. We don't have to be in the war because people before us were already in the war, and we're here. So if you don't acknowledge that, you don't appreciate that, then it's just gonna lead us to the times of we have to go through that over and over again, and we see that a lot.
We're so free that people are so bored that they change their gender.
Yeah, right.
It's
Imagine you have
insane.
nothing else to do. Then yeah, and people didn't have that thinking back then. It's like, is that really what they were concerned about?
Yeah,
And
no.
what body we are?
Like when I think about especially when we talk about masculinity, like back in like when these people first came to America, they had to build, they had to go out and still almost like survive in a way.
Yeah.
They still had to hunt for food and sell it. There's more business around, but it was times where people still were almost like they could go hungry, right?
Yeah.
But nowadays it's like, yeah, we could go hungry by our own choice and decision, but in reality, like you're not really gonna go hungry.
Yeah.
Right? You have food, you have these things, And I know that there is homeless people and stuff like that, but these are for the people that do realize that they have all these things and are not taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
It's almost like disrespect towards the people, like you said, that died for us.
I don't think freedom is the reason why we lost masculinity in America. I don't think that's the reason. Not at all, but I think the significant portion is, Cole said it very well, which is we're living in an unprecedented time. Whereas the issues that men faced 30 years ago had nothing to do with phones or technology. What has inventions like computers and what makes an invention so great is, in short way to put it, it makes our lives easier. The phone makes our lives easier in what ways? In order to communicate with others, rather than having to walk to someone's house, we can now just pick up a phone and text them. Technology is all about how can I make someone's life easier. If you can develop a product or a service that can make someone's life easier and just focus on something else, you have a product that's going to make money. Mm-hmm. So with this being said, the thing that happens is as things become easier and easier for men, which hadn't happened before, right? We used to have to build everything on our own. Now we can have robots build it. That leads men to have easier lives. And the formula is, like we said, strong times create whatever, hard times create strong men. Mm-hmm. We're now living in an era that's not going to change where everything is so accessible. And the topic of instant dopamine is at the center of it all. Because everything that we do nowadays is instant dopamine, and as our dopamine level rises, or is it lowers? I don't know what the right word is. Rises as time goes on. Yeah, we need more dopamine. That's where I think the internal issue of masculinity even started from.
I think that's well said.
Well, I think with what you just said, it's like men are just free of problems. They're free of so many of the problems that men used to solve. It's like now it's like, okay, now I need to actually, like, because people solve problems regardless,
problems
right?
Persist. Problems
No,
will
they do
always
persist,
occur.
but they're different problems nowadays.
Exactly.
And that's like, we're free of the problems that were once the guys who died for us, right, in this country. But now it's like these new problems are coming up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a different type of
They don't
battles
know
and
how
different type
it's
of problems
a
we
first
go
time
through.
thing
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah, and
But
I don't know.
These type of problems are ones that require internal discipline rather than before. And of course, discipline has always been a factor, but building a house didn't necessarily have much to do with discipline. It required physical exertion, exhaustion, physical exhaustion. Now it's all mental. It's all mental. And masculinity all starts from inside the head. I really do believe that.
And it can't be without the body either. So it's like you can't just say it only starts from that, because if you don't develop your physical strength, then because I think that's a very, very important component to being a masculine man is being physically strong.
But that
You know what I
starts
mean?
from your mental state.
One
You
thing
will
I
not
do
become
wanna-
physically
you can
strong
be- I
without
think-
having the mental presence.
I think you can be physically strong and might not be able to
If you don't have the
necessarily
right
be mentally.
mentality, you won't go to the gym consistently.
No,
Well, here's the thing,
A
if
lot
you're
of
raised-
people in trades, they get jacked like through their trade. And Chris Williams said it perfectly, where he was like asking the question, if you could have one thing, mental strength or physical strength. I don't necessarily agree with his answer. I'd rather have mental, but he says physical because physical strength just leads to mental strength. It's downstream, essentially.
Yeah,
And
definitely
a lot of
agree
like the
with that,
people in
yeah.
these tradesmen that do a lot of hands and knees type of work, they get stronger through that. And then like the fucking millions of years ago, or thousands of years ago, when people were like the Egyptians were building the fucking pyramids, they were in shape because they're picking up these heavy ass fucking bricks. They didn't have robots doing it for them, and then that physical strength leads to a sense
That
of
choice
discipline.
of having to pick up every brick was mental.
But
Everything
also
stems
because
from-
if you
but
don't, then the
can't
Pharaoh's
argue
just
that
gonna
every-
kill you.
Every single
So-
It's like
decision
you're saying
stems
if you don't
from
have a
fear.
brain, you're gonna die. Well,
Exactly,
obviously
so
that's
it's
the
your
case.
mental
But
strength is more important than anything because that's what
They build
forces physical strength upon. You
I mean,
cannot be
Wait, do you
physically
not think
strong
that?
if you do
Why
not
not?
Conspiracy
make the
theory.
decision.
But
you
they
cannot
use
make the
tools to
decision of
help.
becoming physically strong without your
If
mental
you're not
state.
here strong, exactly, yeah.
they
You
That's
don't
what
even
it's
have
also
to be
like-
strong here. You just have to make the mental decision that I want to become physically strong.
but going through the challenges of
The-
physical
That
struggle
kinda
is
shows
also
that you're
building a
mentally
stronger man.
strong, that you want
Yeah.
to make
Yes,
that change. So
essentially, but
essentially, it is.
It's mental strength, but it's also mental strength in the fact that like if I don't lift this brick, this Pharaoh is gonna like fucking suffocate me in stone, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
lose my
it's
life.
still a
Like,
mental decision.
It is.
well, yeah, I mean, are you really?
Josh,
you're
I think
right.
you're not.
Of course, you're making the choice at the end of the day, but are you
I'm
really
just
like
making
so
a very
free
literal
when
point. I
if you
understand
don't
where you guys are
follow
going
through
for,
with that
but
choice, you're fucking
in order
dead.
to have physical strength, you have to make the decision to do something that requires physical strength.
Not always. If you grow
Yes.
up in an environment, right, where your parent raises you to be physically strong, rather than a parent
You still
that's
choose.
absent there.
You still make that decision yourself.
But
no
that's the
matter
thing,
how
though.
much
If
influence
they
you
said,
have.
look, Josh, if they said, be on your own, you as a kid that doesn't understand the value of strength will choose an easier path. You would rather sit home, eat chips, probably watch a TV. You would not want to work out. That's the mentality of a kid from going to boy to a man, right? The same transition. So if somebody, kind of forces you and installs that mindset in you, and you need to work out, and you become physically strong, through the physical strength, you will get the mental toughness of going through the pain. So it's like it really coexists, and you can develop both strength from one another. When you're mentally developed, you will, tell yourself, okay, I need to be physically strong. This is why. When you go through the physical struggle, you develop the mental strength of not giving up, fighting through, just being mentally strong in general, because your body's strong, and it really coexists. And when we said the thing about freedom, I didn't necessarily underline, even though I could have, I guess, clarified it more. I didn't underline that we're weak because of freedom necessarily, but because we don't understand where the freedom comes from. We think we're so free that we don't need to do anything, and that just leads to more weakness and I guess, weaker people. You know what I mean? We need to understand that the freedom wasn't free. Therefore, we need to pay it forward, and we need to do our job as man, right? And as people into society to, grow this generation into a better man, into bigger people, and just keep it going rather than trying to stop the flow, because essentially that's really what happened. And that's what I was trying to get to with the freedom. It's not that the freedom itself makes us weak, but it's just not not acknowledging that we need to be strong. That's what makes us weak. That's where it comes from. Do you know what I mean?
What do you think? Do you have to be mentally strong or physically strong?
I think it's what came
Go
first, the
first,
chicken
go
or the egg kind of discussions. Like, what came first, mental strength or physical strength? You can't have one without the other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My point was.
But
not
which one do you
about
think is
point,
like?
It's a
I
mental
don't know,
decision
let's say,
to
which one's more
decide
important to you.
choose.
It was for
physical
you.
strength.
Every
For
single
everyone.
choice in life
Is a mental
is your
decision,
choice.
yeah,
You're
my
right.
point, yeah.
But how free?
That's
Like,
the
this
only
is gonna
thing
be
I
a
was
very
emphasizing here. I'm not
yeah.
saying mental
No, of
strength
course, but
first.
there's a little bit of a flaw in that, and this may be an extreme hypothetical. But if the Taliban were to kidnap me,
Mhm.
and they come to you and they say, "Hey, listen, if you don't do exactly what we're gonna tell you, your next decision, I'm gonna shoot you. They're gonna shoot me."
Mhm.
How free are you really? Like, because if you, yeah, it's your choice to go with what they're telling you, of course. But if you don't, then I die. And I mean,
Yeah, it's
everybody
freedom in
wants
a
to be, of
way,
course.
but
Yeah,
at the
I'm
same time,
confused.
it's
Why
not.
is
It's
freedom
just
in this?
limiting.
Why'd you bring up freedom?
Because you're saying it's your choice, which is right. But how
My
much?
argument had nothing to do with freedom.
I'm talking about your argument had everything to do with it being your choice.
Mental
That's
choice.
why
He
it's
gave
the
you an
mental
example
strength,
of
right.
the pharaohs forcing him to pick up the
The
stones.
the problem with that is it's
Even if
again
you're
what
not
I'm
free,
using.
you still make a choice. I don't understand what your point here is.
Honestly, it's not important. I'll just explain it to you after. But
And I think it is very important what you're saying, to be honest. But you know how he brought up, you know how you said, mental strength. You need to make a mental decision before you make a physical decision, or necessarily going through a physical pain. It's like when somebody puts a gun on your head, right, and says you have to do this physical activity, otherwise you die. Yes, it is a mental decision, but what else do you implement with that? Physical. You gotta do physical activity, whatever it may be. And
Yeah.
with the pharaohs too,
like I said, this is an extreme example, but it correlates to
Yeah,
like
but-
the hands and knees work that I was talking about in the beginning, which is how this started in the first place. Part of how it started in the first place. It's that, like, hey, if I don't go do this job, I'm not gonna make money, and I'm not gonna be able to provide for my family, even though I'm just an immigrant that moved into this country, and my kids are starving, and I don't want them to eat cardboard for dinner. So it's like that idea that certain things have to do. Yes, it's your choice, but
It's like you
at
would
the end
rather
of
be
the
in
day,
office, maybe,
it's like
but
what
you just
Oak
can't,
says,
right?
You know, you're fucking measuring benefits and the cons, and then honestly, this is really not too related
I'm
with the
confused.
topic.
I just
I'll explain this to you after, because
We're
this isn't.
not- We're arguing two different things. I think we should just.
Okay, yeah.
continue.
Let's scratch this and let's take a look, like, because we steered away from like masculinity a little bit. So,
I wanna
Sadula
ask
was
a
for.
que- I want to ask a question. For
Okay.
David.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
fuck
So
me,
David,
right?
What is no?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. No, fuck me, guys.
Do
All
you
right.
want? I
If
said,
No,
Josh
no, no,
speaks,
no,
bro,
no.
you
I
you're
gave you
just
a
quiet.
chance. I gave you a chance. You said okay, and then now you're saying fuck me.
Because I'm
Was that
joking.
mental decision?
I'm joking.
I know,
It
I
was a
know.
mental decision. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm just. It's just funny.
No, it was physical.
From the
He
people that
closed
you
his mouth.
saw in the military, obviously there's a lot of characteristics that they attain that are masculine traits. What is the, if you were to say the most important one that someone that's aspiring to be more masculine, what trait would that be that they need to acquire? That you see a lot in the military. Well, it doesn't even have to be in the military, but
Adaptability.
I like that answer.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very.
Mhm.
Why so? Yeah.
Explain.
That is a good
People
one.
can do. You are more capable to do anything you think you can do. You are more capable than you think you are. Like, I can give
Mental strength.
you. Like, I have never shot a weapon, any weapon, at all.
I'm more experienced than you are. I shot a gun. You never been in a shooting range?
No, I'm saying before the army.
Oh fuck.
I have never shot a weapon outside of the army. I get into the army, I can now shoot a weapon. I am adaptable. I have never been able to ruck 10 miles with 50 pounds on my back. I get to the army. All of a sudden, I can do that.
That's hard as fuck.
Adaptability.
That's tough. Respect. Like, really.
There's a lot of things that you think you can't do that you just simply have to figure out how to do it. I have had an AIT, which is Advanced Individual Training, which is where you go to learn your job in the Army. You have to be adaptable, because you just spent the past 2 months learning how to be nothing but brainless soldier. You now have to transition from that to learning your new job. For me, it was radios. I had to learn a bunch of different radio systems. I had to learn how to set up antennas. I had to transition from being just basic soldier, the bare bones, the foundation of my career, and I had to now transition and become adaptable to be able to do my job.
Right. That
Now,
makes a lot of
obviously, the clear answer is to become uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
that's just so inexplicable. God damn it!
He's not pleased with the answer.
In itself, what kind of practices can just a regular man watching this episode do to acquire that trait? Like, of course, the answer is get uncomfortable, but can you give me like a specific thing that they can do?
If you don't like something, like say you don't like working out, you hate the feeling of your muscles being sore, push yourself to do it anyway. You don't like collard greens, season them in a way that you'll like them. Try to make something you don't like something you like. For instance, you don't like working out, just gaslight yourself, man.
It's a mental battle, yeah.
Just gain body dysmorphia and boom, you'll start working out.
I don't like drinking beer. Should I drink it?
Go lose a loved one and resort to alcoholism.
Oh my gosh. I have a lot to do.
This is high school David that I know.
But I haven't changed.
What?
I haven't changed.
I mean, I think you did a
He's just
little.
gotten better.
Yeah, exactly.
More maturity.
He's
but
leveled up. What level is he in the guild?
this is here's the thing. Like, if you were to ask me that question, this is how I would answer. Find something that is your fear or you're not comfortable with, and find it to be comfortable. Like he said, get uncomfortable being comfortable, or be comfortable being uncomfortable. Yeah, because there's a lot of things that you would be surprised that you're good at, or you're surprised that you can actually do if you just try. Like, that's really all it takes. So, if it's a fear that you're having and you think you can never overcome it, well, boom, challenge yourself to overcome that fear, and you're going to be surprised. After you do that, and that was probably one of your biggest fears that you couldn't think you could overcome, well, you just did. There's the evidence right there. Now, you just and then you develop this mindset that if I did that, why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? And then you just are flexible and adapting to many environments. I mean, that's how I would go about that.
No, I like it. Yeah, so we're a little deep into the episode here, but Sadula was very kind enough to put down like 9 key masculine traits, and we're gonna kind of break these down because, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of men nowadays, they're looking to find how to become more masculine, but they don't necessarily know how to approach it. So we figured these traits may as well help them have some sort of vision in mind. So the first one we have written down is integrity. I feel like you can relate to this the most because in the military, integrity is literally one of the biggest things that you being.
It is one of the Army values.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of talk to us a little bit about that and how that transitioned you.
Integrity kind of just, for me, just means do what you would do regardless of who's around.
Mm-hmm.
Do the right thing no matter what. Do the correct thing no matter what. That's what integrity is for me. It just means no matter your situation, do what you would do, not what someone else would do.
Yeah, and the Army really like helps put that down. Like if you see someone in danger, don't be a soft little pussy bitch and think
I'm just gonna run away.
that's or like like trying to
Yeah,
actually
be deserving
confront it
now.
and confront yourself too in the process. So that's personally a great thing.
I thought integrity was more like an honor, like integrity,
Yeah,
honor, like
it-
just
It they correlate a lot. Integrity, I don't have the exact definition of it, but when I think of integrity, like let's see what you have written down here.
Having a strong belief on your moral principles and standing up for what is morally appropriate, and having a strong stand on your virtues.
Pretty much like standing on business for what you believe in.
Yeah, I like that. Like honestly, I like
So
that.
when it comes to integrity, it's pretty much like just having conviction and knowing what is right, what's wrong. I mean, having morals, and even when you're faced with the decision of, okay, would you rather die for your country or you're in or some
Or be
crazy
free.
situation?
be free. That's here's the thing. Can I explain it?
Would you rather
Back then, people had different mentality in terms of their life and their integrity, to the point where their integrity was so, I would say, valuable that they would rather die to be honorable, right? So in a war, if a soldier like ran away from a war and came back to their country, they were shamed by other people, and they were also shamed with themselves that they ran away from a battlefield and left their teammates or anything. That's why one of the main, I would say, law or rules is don't leave your soldier behind no matter what. Even if you have to go when they're shooting bullets at you, you should not leave the battlefield. If there's somebody wounded to the point where they might be dying and you know the chances of you rescuing them is very low, you have to still go out there and rescue that person and bring them home, right? That's
You
what
always
they
bring
would,
your soldiers home.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the integrities. Japanese people used to do the samurais, right? If they felt disrespected, right, they would go and kill themselves in the other samurai's lawn, right? I'm not saying
What?
that's something that you should do, but that just shows their culture of, their honor and integrity. That's what it shows, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, not that you should take it to that far, but people shouldn't forget that we have honor and integrity, which if you do forget that, then anything, you can just really believe anything, and you can just be, I guess, like, I don't know how to say it. You're just going to be a weak person. Anything's really going to get to you. You're not going to have any type of honor with yourself and any type of integrity to, I guess, not let anybody really disrespect you fully, because if anybody just gets to disrespect you in any way they want, right, you just don't have respect for yourself, and that's just what those stories show.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know Miyamoto Musashi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the Japanese samurai. So, yeah, you don't? Really?
You read one of his books, I thought. I think you.
That's
had
one of the
it.
samurai
You're
characters.
talking about the art of war. That's
Sun Tzu.
Yeah, so Miyamoto Musashi was a famous Japanese samurai, and he was like a philosopher. He had a lot of good things about his story. He's a real life person, and so he wrote this thing before he died. He went into a cave and wrote this set of principles and rules called the Dokuro, which is all the rules and the principles that like pretty much integrity itself that he stands on, And I remember like one of them is, for example, do not rely on the gods for your help. Do not rely on gods for help. And it was like something with samurai, something with them. Once you become a samurai, like, you can't not be a samurai or something like that.
Exactly. No,
Like,
that's
there's
what I'm saying. They were very strict with
very strict with the rules.
Yeah.
There's also things like never stray from the way. There's things like, oh, you can't be attached to your possessions, or you have to be like a vagabond, which is go from place to place. You don't be attached to a single. One of the rules is, I'm not going to exactly quote it, but it says to not be attached to just one single place. Don't be complacent, pretty much.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing: when we hear these type of stuff, like a samurai going to somebody's lawn and killing themselves, right? That might be funny to us now, but when we look at the country and how they develop through the years, countries with those type of values that they had back then, like integrity and stuff, really shows how they respect their culture, right? And how their culture grows compared to the country that doesn't really have values like that. So it's like it really does sound funny to us now, but country really develops really well when they had people like that were protecting their honor and integrity. So
I feel like guys nowadays don't even have conviction. Like they're so easily to conform. Like if they're in a friend group or they're in a group of people and they believe something, right? They have one belief, but like a couple other people, they think otherwise. Like they think the opposite of what he believes. So he's just gonna be like, yeah, guys, I believe with you, right? Because he just wants to be friends with them, right? So it's like a lot of guys nowadays, like they have this like fragile foundation of what is right, what's wrong. They don't really have conviction. They don't even like. I feel like guys just like, oh, what are you talking about, bro? Stop being so serious about life. Like, you know what I mean? They just do that shit instead. They go sleep. They sleep in. They fucking do all that stuff. So they don't really stand on integrity.
exactly.
Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, loyalty. I think a lot of this actually can really tie into army and you know. Maybe
Yeah, they
soldiers,
do.
so.
When you wrote down,
Loyalty is literally like the first. So the Army values spell out leadership, basically. It's loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. Those are the Army values. So yeah, loyalty is the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we
why
are-
would you?
Yeah.
How would you say they teach you loyalty, and in what ways?
Be loyal to your country first and foremost.
Yeah.
You are now serving your country, not serving yourself anymore. You have donned a U.S. Army name tape onto a U.S. Army uniform. You are a soldier.
Is that fulfilling to you?
Kind of, actually.
Say
Yeah. You gain a purpose greater than yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Nice.
But loyal to your country first and foremost.
Right.
Dude, honestly, I think it's such a key thing because, especially America, it's a capitalistic society. Everyone's selfish. Everyone has everything like that they want, right? Everyone just cares about what they're doing, what they want to do, their desires, whatever. But going outside of yourself for loyalty or anything, like going outside of yourself to help someone else or to be a part of something, to create change, like that is meaningful, right? Regardless, like if you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the pinnacle of it is self-actualization or purpose, which is anything that you do outside of yourself. It's no longer about you. It's something bigger than you.
That's one of the first things they try to beat out of you. You are no longer an individual. You are now your unit.
Yeah.
You are your team, your platoon, your unit, your battalion. You are the Army.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
tough.
And I think the reason why they install those values so strongly like that is because when you're in a battlefield and you get caught and your teammates are
You need to
probably
have trust
still looking
in everybody
for exactly.
around you.
And not just that, but if they put you on your knees and say, like, tell me where your teammates are hiding or we're gonna kill you, you can either like let them kill you and still protect your teammates to maybe go home safely, right? Or you can just say, oh yeah, they're right there, and just show them where they are, that type of thing, you know what I mean? And then there's
And
a
then get
bunch
them
of
killed,
scenarios
too.
where they torture you just to make you say the things that maybe you're planning on them, like the kind of moves, like they're trying to get some kind of information out of you about your country and what they're planning on doing. And it's really up to you to honor that and not tell them, even if it means them shooting you in the head, right? I've seen a couple movies where it's based on true story where they would have one soldier knee down and they're friends. And they're saying, kill your friend with the gun or we're going to kill both of you. It's like, what do you do, right? It's such a hard decision to make with so much pressure. But a true soldier will tell you that answer without a doubt. at least something that they would like to do even on that battlefield. And some people go and call them crazy for wanting to do that, but in reality, in their mind, that's respect, that's honor. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing they can do for their country. To serve and protect.
What
What?
would you do in that situation? If you,
Dude, if it's my close friend that I'm like battling with, I would just be like, yeah, shoot both of us. I'm not gonna shoot my friend, and I'm not gonna conform to enemies that are trying to tell me to kill my own friend. I'm not gonna do that.
The
I
thing is,
wouldn't
like,
want to do that.
when you ask questions like that, like you're literally talking about something that we have never experienced ever. So it's
Yeah.
like, of course, the right decision would be what he said, right? That's what, yeah, of course I'd do that. Like, why wouldn't I, right? It's so easy to say that now.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's like
That's
in
what
that
I'm saying.
situation, it's like pressure, adrenaline, fight or flight.
That's what I said. I would
everything is
like
kicking
to.
in.
I would like to make that decision to not kill my friend, with a gun. But what I would do in the situation under that pressure, knowing that it's my life or their life, and plus, in that movie, he had a family of his own at home that he could go to. But then when he went home, there's a whole other drama and stuff. His wife cheated on him with his brother and all that kind of stuff, and he was losing his mind.
Oh, Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire was in that movie. I think it's called Brothers or something. And it's a great movie, by the way. And what happened is he lost his mind that he killed his own friend to be able to see his family, and then when he went home, that's what he found out. Like that's a lot of pressure.
yeah, that's
and
a
lot
shit
of
ton to
toll,
go there,
so-
but I
Because
don't
at
know.
that point, sometimes they are even in the mental state when they go home and they're like, I just killed my friend. What's the point of my life? And they end up taking their own life. It's the type of thing that you might choose freedom, but then that story and that, I would say the pictures of like what happened there is gonna haunt you your whole life. So it is freedom, but at the same time, it's a hard thing to battle with the rest of your life. So, sometimes you just have to make hard decisions like that, I guess. What would you do?
Like even with the podcast, like we're all here, we're loyal to this, right?
Yeah.
We're all committed. We come here every weekend. Like we don't miss a weekend. Like we might, okay, maybe we to make up the topic the day of, right? But we show up every single week, right? That's loyalty. That's commitment right there itself. And people find fulfillment. Like each one of these traits that we are gonna say today, like people will find fulfillment in them if they just try and they implement at least one or two of these. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just the first two that we said,
Mhm.
Patience, yeah,
I mean,
patience is a big
Yeah,
one.
if you look at patience, patience is the ability to endure difficult circumstances. Patience may involve perseverance in the face of delay. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, this one I think is the hardest to acquire due to the current circumstances
For
of this
sure.
world. Not even close. So if there was one, at least for me, I really like the answer of adaptability. I really did. But patience has to be maybe top 3 for me in terms of which ones to. If you really want to separate yourself amongst other men and other people in this world,
Patient.
patience.
Yeah.
Patience. You think a long-term game, and you're bound for success. I really do.
This applies to every single aspect in life, like entrepreneurs who want to try to get rich quick or whatever. Like just like patience.
That's literally
man.
the
That's
one
all I
thing
have to
people
say.
lack when it comes to giving up. They don't have patience to stay in the game for a long period of time to
Exactly.
reach their goals. That's
Yeah,
what it
because
is.
they're not seeing the results
It
quick
is
enough.
really
like-
powerful.
sorry, podcasts fail.
Yeah.
Podcasts fail. Like I think it's most podcasts fail after like the 20th episode, even after the first couple, like in single digits. Like people just stop posting.
Dude, we've seen people around us, right? Those guys that we would see that are kind of like in our niche or whatever, they would fall off. They just couldn't. I mean, obviously everybody has their own reasons on why they stopped, and it's not only because they just couldn't handle the pressure. But let's be honest, right? If those people in their first 2 videos got million views, they wouldn't just be like, nah. You know what I
That's
mean?
what they were
Most likely, exactly, because that's one of the things that they're lacking. So, it is a hard skill to learn because even now, like I have to constantly battle with that. There's no results. What do I do? I'm questioning what I'm doing.
It's like a
right?
big abyss,
But-
like that you're just stuck in. Just like when is it gonna
Exactly.
be? When is it gonna be?
But that purpose has to be stronger than why am I doing it, and what can I get out of this, and not only just that, but what can I do to serve these people right on the podcast, because that's really what we're doing is we're trying to help people, educate people, and we're taking time out of our day to also learn. And there's just so many things that you have to think about before quitting.
it's almost like if I even give like an analogy or some type of way to picture in my mind, I think about it's like if you tell the universe, okay, or tell God, right, I want this, right? You tell him you have a goal in mind. So what he does is lays out a big dark forest and says, go walk it, and the forest will let you know when you're ready. You get out of it once it knows that you're ready. And so you keep walking in this dark forest. Like you see the North Star, right? Okay, I need to go that way. Right? You need to go that way. You keep going, but it's like never ending. It's like, oh, when am I gonna get out of here? When am I gonna get the results, right? And it's like that's just the cost. That's like what you have to pay in order to get the reward.
And then the question has to be, when you ask for the goal, how bad do you want the goal? How bad do you want something to the point where you're willing to keep going?
Yeah. David, for example, like when you mention those moments where your sergeants would like go overtime, or like when they would make you do more than you, like that wouldn't really make sense. Like what do you think about patience? Like how did you really learn to be I'm guessing like they really drilled that hard on you guys.
So I'm a little brother. I'm the youngest technically out of 5.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was only one older brother.
It's one biological, like, mother and father. Then I have 2 half siblings and a stepbrother.
Oh, okay.
So I grew up with basically my stepbrother and my older brother. They definitely tested my patience. They would annoy me to no end. They would bother me to no end. My older brother still, to this day, today actually, tests my patience. So I have learned that patience is a virtue. You have to be able to... You have to take whatever life dishes at you. If your older brother, for example, walks in your room, stands there menacingly, does absolutely nothing, and you look at him and you go, what? And then he cups a fart and throws it at you, what do? You retaliate. But you have to learn how to control yourself, how to be patient. Because I have had situations where I was very much glad that my older brothers annoyed me to no end because it gave me patience. It allowed me to deal with people that I frankly didn't want to deal with, but I dealt with them because it is what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah,
At the
that's
end
a
of
great
the
way
day,
to
I'm
put
going
it.
to bed.
Like being able to deal with the people that you don't want to deal with. That was the key thing to me.
But I feel like people like nowadays, they react so easily. Like they're like everyone thinks it's personal. Everyone thinks everyone's coming at them. Everyone thinks like they're being attacked. When it's just like you're just being reactive. You're just like you don't have the patience. You don't have the
There's
attention
no
span.
self-control.
Yeah, it's like people's attention spans are just absolutely just like I remember like when I used to start getting into meditation, I couldn't even do 3 minutes. I was like, was 1 minute in, I checked the phone, it was only like 1-2 minutes in, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I have a long way to go with this. And like I feel like when we were children though, we had so much more patience before technology kind of gave us a whole like idea about
Yeah, I don't
short
I don't
attention
think
span.
so, honestly.
Really.
Kids with patience?
Yeah, kids definitely don't have
I'm definitely a lot more patient now.
I mean, come on. When kids play video games versus when people play chess or something as kids, there's definitely
No,
a
of
part
course.
like
You can develop that skill for
that's what
sure,
he was that's
depending
what
on
you
what
were
you
talking
do.
about, right? When you develop the skill of being patient, because obviously when you're too little.
I think he was just trying to underline the idea that what technology does to our brains, rather than trying to think what is actually happening when you're a kid. You actually don't have patience because most of the things that they tell you to do that requires
That's what they
patience.
teach you,
You don't even you don't even know why you're doing it. So how can you have patience for that? But technology definitely adds a toll to that when you don't have any patience really, and you just want more dopamine. How are you ever really gonna be patient?
What was the original statement?
What did I
Do you remember what you said?
No, I said when we were little, we had like more patience at least. Like our parents probably didn't have patience with us, but at least we didn't have technology. Like at least we were less wired. We were less attention, short attention. Deficit. You don't think so? Why?
Kids wanted everything immediately. We wanted
Bro, he
toys
said
immediately.
before technology, so he's talking
Yeah,
about
Yeah,
like
and
still
that
back-
side he's right, but kids
like
being more
old
patient.
days when they
definitely
didn't have phones.
Are you saying
they
kids
were
now versus
more
kids then?
wired
Is
to
that what
it.
you're
Well, of course, yeah,
When
because
I was a kid, at least I was more patient than not. Like with the attention span wise, like at least I could keep my attention and be present.
You wanted things immediately, though. That's what every kid wanted. That's
Yeah,
essentially.
no.
Wouldn't-
You may
wouldn't
not have
every-
technology,
but
but you can
everyone
replace
wants
that with
things
anything.
immediately.
Like you want to recess
The thing is,
app or whatever.
everyone wants things immediately, but kids just say it out loud.
Yeah, but kids cry about it and make a whole problem
Exactly,
about it.
but everyone wants it immediately. Don't you?
I don't
Or the
I
question
don't
would
know.
be, if you were to take something instantly, sometimes we're more inclined to choose that than to delay it, because we know delaying it means
Bro,
we
I'll
just
give
have to
you
wait
guys a
for
good
it.
example. Ready? When me and Sadhu were growing up, we did not have phones. We usually just played outside with our friends and stuff. And then when we had our relatives come
Visit us.
like stay for a couple of days at our house, right, in Georgia, they would have little kids and they would be having phones before they went to sleep. They could not go to sleep without the phones. As soon as you would take their phone, they would start crying like crazy. That if you like, they would have like a panic attack. But for me and Sadula, right? And for example, at nighttime, we wanted to, like, it was 8 o'clock. We wanted to go out and play. When they would close the door and lock it, you guys cannot go outside anymore and play. We would deal with that easier way than the kids that were raised with phones.
Yeah.
As soon as you take their phone away, they become monsters. they start having panic attacks. They can't breathe anymore. Those are the stuff, like, when you don't have phone, it's like you're, I don't know, just like you're more in a reality than with kids that are
phones.
raised with phones. I'm just giving an example.
No, yeah,
That's just how it went.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not just that, but kids that are not told no by the parent are spoiled. Therefore, anything that is a no, it's like, why? I want a yes.
And
So,
obviously
yeah.
that too, right? Because then you can also say same thing with giving them phones and telling them, no, you can't have it anymore. And then same
Right.
thing with, you can't go outside anymore. But the problem was, phone and like when we scroll
It is
through
a bigger
TikTok and stuff,
attachment. I
it's
see what.
so much more powerful, like, and higher dopamine than just your parents telling you not to go outside and play is completely different. That's why
For sure.
that's why I'm comparing this to technology and like how
Mhm,
old
yeah.
days were. So
That's
I
true.
think that's where you were going,
I
right?
agree with that.
Not just in general kids, because in general kids don't have patience at all. But it comes down to having a kid that's raised with technology and the other kids that are not raised with like phones and stuff. This is what I would notice.
But it's good to clarify that, because kids just don't have patience as adults.
Yeah,
But then you might be surprised. Some kids may have more patience than people that scroll all day on their phones, which I don't disagree with at all. It's just very unlikely, but I think in the world that we live in today is a big possibility, to be honest.
Let's move on to authenticity. I feel like we can kind of just brush past this one, because this has already like been touched upon with what David said. When you're in the like integrity, it's you doing the right thing, you doing what you would do, and that's exactly what authenticity is. It's just you being true to your true self.
are.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know
Exactly,
if I
yeah.
said that twice, but that's just the idea of this, and this is really important, because if you are like in terms of masculinity and you are not being yourself, you're aligning your actions with someone else's interests. Like, let's pretend like I'm in a social setting and I'm in a friend group, right? And these guys are the people around me are like people that fuck with the whole I want to be mysterious, I want to be the villain type shit, right? But you yourself, you're different. You want to be childish, you want to be goofy, you want to be the hero, quote unquote, right? And the moment you start to put on this act of you wanting to be the villain, you wanting to be like so stone cold, stoic, whatever, you're lying to yourself and you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're not aligning with your true interests. And like that doesn't mean they're fucking bad for being another type of way. It just means you need to find a different group of people, right? But one of the worst things you could do to yourself is put on this mask or this uniform, like what David was talking about earlier, and try to be someone that you're not. Like that's a horrible thing, because who are you to have to fucking conform to other people's beliefs or interests or whatever? No, just be yourself, and that's one of the biggest thing masculinity portrays, for sure.
Yeah, what if I was born to wear the mask?
If that's who you are, if that's how you were born, then
What if I was born to wear the mask?
To what?
Were
I
you
was
the main
born
character?
to wear the mask.
Wear the
And
mask.
then that's you who you is
Yeah.
that you being who you are?
What if I'm the villain at heart?
To go and be the villain. That's why the heroes like me stop you and we put your bitch ass down. Sorry.
I think the biggest takeaway with authenticity is a lot of it dissipates when we go into high school. I think so, because we decide to join groups that think it's such a small bubble. High school is such a small bubble. Every high school varies on how many people are in your grade, but for me it was 500 people. And that sounds like a lot, but when we think in the outer scope of 8 billion people, it's nothing. So we go into this high school group and we aren't truly ourselves because we don't want to be by ourselves. And what we find is we go and join groups. I remember my cafeteria group where I never felt comfortable in, but you just didn't want to sit by yourself. And that's when authenticity slowly goes down. You have to realize in the outer grand scheme of things is the second, I really hope that the second you get out of high school, you acknowledge just how irrelevant those people are that you'll never realistically see. And then they're not necessarily irrelevant as in a bad way, but simply there are other people like you, your true self, not the person you portray in high school, but who you truly are under the mask. And you just got to find those people and understand that high school is not the only people around you.
Dude, social circles can be a matrix.
Yeah.
Because you can literally, it's like almost walking in a physical bubble. Once you're in there, it's like, there's limits here now. Oh my gosh, like, in order to be in this bubble, I need to do X, Y, Z, right?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
And to be honest, I mean, ever since we graduated high school, I mean, look, David, the only guy other than Joel, like, I haven't really met my high school friends, right? It's just very few that you actually get to meet, well, which I'm glad you're here. And, you know, that is really the idea. Out of all those people, at the end of the day, you really just meet people that align with your values, that are authentic. And not everybody is that way, but what we try to do is fit in with everybody. And those are also like the developing years. That's why it just happens to be high school. It's not necessarily the high school itself.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
happens to be the developing stage of your masculine self, I guess you would say, or like manhood. And, you know, the ages where you are trying to seek some kind of status, attention, and dominating other men, I guess you could say.
Dude, I think
Because
authenticity kind of ties in with integrity, like we said before, because it's about conviction. It's about standing on business, standing on, your core principles and your values. But people walk around and they take other people's values. They don't know what they value. They might value something, they might not, but they just don't really know. Like, people don't really know what they really want in life or
Exactly.
who they are.
They see a YouTuber and they're like, oh yeah, this guy has that value and I like it. I'm going to have that value. But if that value doesn't make sense, it's not going to be the same value that person holds. Because most likely if somebody holds a strong value is because they understand it and it connects with them. If a value doesn't connect to you, it's just another trait that you claim to have. That's all. There's no power to it.
Yeah.
Humble is a huge
this
one
was
for
a-
me. Yeah, because
me
this
too.
is like I have a lot to say about this one, and it's just like when you think of being a masculine man, do you think of like having all the possessions you have and then going to the outside world, screaming about it, being loud, like and obnoxious, putting it in other people's faces, trying to put them down for it, be like, oh, I have all these rags and riches. What do you have, you piece of shit? Like, is that what masculinity looks like to us? No, like you're supposed to, as a masculine man, I believe that one of your purposes is to help bring other people up and try and bring them along the level you're on, right? It's not through just putting people down in a selfish manner, going out into
It's
the
literally
world.
that quote.
and saying,
That quote puts it perfectly.
you know, thinking less of yourself. It's like yeah, we're not gonna spoil the quote of the day, right? But it's literally just about you. When you
They're gonna
go
have to watch
out,
all the way through.
they will.
They have to be humble and
Yeah,
watch all the way
right.
through.
Yeah, nice to stay through. Regardless, the whole idea is that this is great because now patience, yes. This is great because now you have to go out and you have to be able to accept yourself. Yeah, like let me go ahead and do the right thing here, and that's try to lift other people up, not putting them down, being like showing what I have and they don't.
Exactly.
Is that really the image of what a masculine man does? No, that doesn't correlate with shit, right? Masculine man tries to help people bring up like the whole quote, iron sharpens iron. Right now you're rusting the iron essentially. So it's a dick thing to do, right? And again,
Because if you're not sharpening it, it's just dull.
yeah,
It's really
like
what it is.
if you are, there's nothing bad about being proud of yourself, and there's a great thing with being proud of yourself and acknowledging your accomplishments.
Having
It becomes
pride.
bad when you go ahead and try to put other people down through that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
no,
guessing
understand
you-
the difference.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
I'm guessing in army they would be really strict about not being humble, right? Because I know in sports they give a lot of attention to that. I know in judo
Sportsmanship,
they do that.
yeah.
Like sportsmanship. Because in army, obviously, there's gonna be people that are gonna be doing more push-ups, more pull-ups than you, running better than you. But if they see somebody making fun of other people because they're weak, I'm pretty sure they're gonna get punished or
Oh.
something like that, right? Because
Very
they would
much so,
definitely.
yes.
I remember
yeah.
our coach would be punishing us if we like kind of made fun of somebody because they were weaker than us. So that would kind of teach us a lesson to be humble.
For sure.
I've definitely
Can you kind
noticed.
of go through?
Yeah.
what they do?
I've always, because a lot of people coming into the army, not at all physically fit. I've seen multiple soldiers just as bottom to the barrel as possible, like couch potatoes. All of a sudden, boom! I'm joining the army. I hate myself. I went into the army right after lacrosse season, so I could run well because I played midfield a lot.
Yeah.
So I had no issue running, no issue doing push-ups. I had no issue being physical. I would always try to go after those soldiers that could not go up or like they could not keep up. I would always try to help
Push
them. I would try to encourage them as much as possible because I also want the best for them.
Much respect.
Because if you want the best for yourself,
That is masculinity
want-
in a shell. Wanting
Yeah.
the best for others.
Bro's
Exactly.
the main character.
Bro, what was the
Yeah.
His
okay,
eyes
buddy.
lit up. His eyes lit up.
Someone said the MC.
Oh,
I know this quote that-
show.
No, I know this quote. It's like it's like appear strong when you're weak and appear weak when you are strong. So it's like a duality of, like, for example, when you're at the gym and you're weak, like try to like at least appear somewhat like strong. Like you do it to kind of not mask it, but to almost
cope.
I don't know.
Good cope.
I don't know. See,
Good cope.
you guys know what I'm trying to say here is like appear weak when you're strong. Appear strong when you are weak.
Yeah, I've heard that quote. That's a good one.
You know what I'm saying? You know what that means, though?
I do. Yeah, it's tough.
I think it has to do with humility and humbleness.
It does, yeah, because the whole idea is that if you're strong, appearing to be strong, whatever, you can take advantage of that and try to put yourself, again, when I was talking about putting other people down, but when you appear weak, it gives other people like a sense of relation and relatability, and the fact
For
that I've been at this point before, and then when you appear strong, all of a sudden you show them what level they can attain to. So it's important that you understand like the balance between that.
Yeah.
I may have explained it poorly, but I like that. I know where you're going. That's
Yeah.
good.
I also want to say one more point that it's also, I feel like it's a good idea for people to understand what being humble is not, because a lot of the times they do mistake in low self-regard or sense of unworthiness. Because when you do, talk about yourself, or somebody, let's say, even compliments you or tries to tell you something that is like, oh, like you're the best, like you did this and that, a lot of the times they go, oh no, it wasn't about me, or no, it's not me, and they would also give credit to all those people that helped them and stuff. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're always deflecting the compliment, or it's not that you're not accepting the compliment. No, to point fingers, but
These two just looked at me, bro.
Everybody's looking at you, bro.
No, just you two, bro.
I got no context.
You guys got something to say?
But yeah, the idea is a lot of the times that's the understanding, but in reality, I think it's the acknowledgement that there's higher power to you, right? Like God. When I believe in God, I believe that I'm nobody compared to God, right? And He's all good, I'm not. And that just gives me that strong purpose to be humble, because what am I, right, compared to God? Now, when I take pride in my actions and tell people, oh, you're not good at that, you're not good at that, I can always resonate with being below somebody. I'm never gonna think that whatever I do in this life, I'm gonna be at the top, you know what I mean? Because that's never gonna happen. And same with the army, right? It's like when you go in there, you're pretty much making a pledge that it's your country and you're serving the country. It's no longer about you, or it's not only about you, but it's really about the other soldiers and your country. So that's putting something above yourself. And for the most part, I think that's something that keeps somebody going the most. When I feel like when you find something that is above you, and you're not, I would say, the center of attention always, that's a very strong driving force, and it's been shown in many cases in life. Mike, were you gonna say something?
No,
You
I'm
defend
good.
yourself?
No,
Why the
I'm not
fuck
even-
take the mic?
I was gonna say something, but I'm good.
humor, not being serious all the time. This is already brought up like
Yeah.
3 times, and David described it perfectly. Like, you need to have that sense of humor. And again, like, if you're one of those people that you're like purposefully trying to hide that sense of you so you can appeal as this mysterious, cool, stoic figure, then you're doing yourself a disservice in the long term, because you're putting on a mask and you're not being true and authentic to yourself. And then having this humor is a great way to lighten up the mood sometimes, to find the light in the darkness, right? And that, I mean, that's the way I look at it. And I feel like being able to make those jokes, crack them around, and then finding the humor or something is literally finding the light in a certain scenario. It's you finding the hope in a way. So I feel like that's a great way to lighten up the mood, for you to find a way to relax, like how David was talking about, and just lighten up a little bit. Like, you don't have to be so serious all the time. It's not to say it's a bad thing, but it's just as important.
The sad reality is people look at John Wick and they're like, I need to be like this man. Just stone cold face the whole time. But that's the reality is no.
Or like
It's really not him,
You
yeah.
gotta be a Deadpool sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
or like
At all
Batman.
times, bro. I love Ryan Reynolds. You know, that's the one of the most genuine dudes out there in terms of authentic.
Like, I'm trying to be Spider-Man, bro.
Well,
I'm not trying to be Batman. Batman, like, I love Batman. Don't get me wrong, but he's like a stone cold figure.
Because I am.
Good. I want to be Spider-Man.
Dude, I've actually noticed a lot of people like not resonate, but like the character of Batman. I personally never really clicked with Batman personally. I don't know
I'll
why,
tell you
but
why.
I know a lot of people do
you're
though.
just feminine.
The thing
You're
is,
not him. You are not him.
Yeah, I'm not that masculine.
the reason people look at Batman and think, "Oh, I want to be like him," is because this person is missing something that he has.
For
that
sure.
they really, it's not easy for them to get.
Yeah,
For example, they've gotten hurt. They know, okay, Batman's cold, he's ruthless, he's disciplined, right? He has these things, but it's so hard for me to get that. And so it's like, I want to be like Batman. I want to be like, they do it as a way to kind of cope almost.
I think people want to be more like Batman because he's the only superhero that literally has no powers. He's a superhero with no powers.
Mhm.
Easy to project on.
And he makes it look easy.
Relatability. Spider-Man, great and all, he can shoot spider webs.
Fuck you. No.
Batman,
dude, what about that
guarantee
crystal? I mean, it's not a
Batman
power,
is only
but
a.
Well, he made that. He made that.
oh, he made that.
Web
Green
fluid, yeah.
crystal?
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
That's right.
He has, and
depending on
that
which
is a
Spider-Man
very
we're talking
strong.
about,
Dude,
yeah.
Well, that's
when you
what
can
we-
stop, when you can stop Superman with that, just throw that at him, kind of thing.
No. In the Tobey Maguire movie, he doesn't though. So you're right in that sense. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
bullshit.
He even built those things that he shoots and blows up. But yeah, you're
Batman
trying to
is
say
human.
like nothing supernatural power
No,
kind
Batman
of
is
thing.
just a human who's gone through a lot of shit and still decides to do the right thing. And people aspire to be like that.
Batman is me.
No, that's
bro.
true.
He has something that people are missing.
Yeah, and he is the savior of the world, right? Like whenever everything's dark, everything's kind of messed up, chaos. That's when he comes
Batman,
in.
man. What's his
right? I
number?
mean, I don't know if you guys seen the movie Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's rich, bro. That's all I want.
Well,
Okay.
and yeah, in the Joker, that is portrayed really well. How it was all in the New York City. Everybody's just stealing, killing, all that kind of stuff, and Batman it's dark. He just comes in.
It's Gotham to
Yeah.
mister.
Oh wait, no.
No,
Why am I talking about
Batman's
Joker?
not
No,
Joker.
he's not there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he's not there. But it was like the same type of setting when it first started, so that's why I got it mixed up. But yeah, in the Gotham City, he just comes in like a badass, just yeah, takes everybody down. Yeah.
About the Dark Knight.
What? No, I'm talking about Gotham City, the newest one.
No, the movie. The Dark Knight. It's
Mhm.
Christian Bale.
Yeah.
I think that scene is where you're referring to.
No, the newest one. I forgot that
Joaquin
guy's.
Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix.
No.
Batman's not in that movie.
Dude,
Joker.
the reason why I mixed up the Joker with the Batman, I don't know why, is because when they both starts with the same setting. They were in
the Batman.
Exactly. But the new Batman that a lot of people were sitting on
The
apparently,
Joker was not in
even though I
Yeah,
liked
so much
it.
love.
I liked it a lot.
Only in the post credit. I'm confused. Not this not important.
I mixed them up, but
Yeah,
I was talking
I'm saying
about the
that.
new
Yeah.
Batman
Yeah, that
movie.
is
Yeah.
so true. What you just
Yeah.
said, so true. Yeah, but we're going back to the idea is this, like, just, you're doing yourself a disservice. Learn to lighten up the mood. This is important. Like, you can't always just be fucking, like, I mean, you can if you want to be, but I feel like that's a hard way to live,
Yeah.
personally. Just being, like, so sad, mysterious, down. Like, learn to live a
Right.
little bit, bro.
And one more thing I want to mention is we've all seen Avatar, right? And Iroh is the character that does that really well, right? In situations, yeah, exactly.
yeah,
He's like the goofy
yeah.
guy. He's the one that makes
Uh-huh.
fun of how fat he may be or like other stuff. And that really is also a resonation with other characters.
Yeah.
If you are able to make jokes about yourself, one, that just says you're not really insecure. You're able to acknowledge who you are and be able to point out your flaws in a way that's funny and in a manner that is joyful, because you have to acknowledge that we all have our flaws.
Yeah,
you know
we're
what I
all
mean? We
human.
all have our
Exactly.
vices, and to be able to point that out, it shows a lot of things. Being humble, right?
And if Iro does it, it means it's true. Because God knows nobody's more masculine than that man.
Dude, Ira's masculine. Like he's a pinnacle.
Zuko, yeah, and also helps with Zuko to
Yeah.
be for him
More
to
joyful.
kind of exactly because he's the character that was like obviously his father kicked him out,
Yeah.
and he was all like hatred towards everybody almost, so he would show him the ways. He kind of found a humanity in him, because then he wasn't as evil anymore, so
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
kinda
It wasn't
he helped-
authentic, bro.
exactly, yeah,
He just
Doing it for his
wasn't.
daddy.
he kind of
He
found
wanted daddy's money,
humanity in him.
That's
I
true.
hope that-
Zuko, you are being a bitch.
And I've noticed
Very good
jokes and humor really connects people. Like when you're in an environment where you joke around your friends and you bring up something funny, there's a strong connection that I personally found. Just sitting down and having a serious conversation is one thing. I mean, you can also enjoy that, right? When it's deep, but when you throw a couple of jokes in there, it just makes it more authentic, and it also makes it so much more fun, and it connects you as people and as individuals. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine going out to the bar or the club and just like standing in the corner like this dark, mysterious figure. Like, does that not just sound like loser shit?
I wouldn't even
That
go to
sounds
club,
like
bro. I'm
loser
not
shit.
gonna lie.
No, but like if I am the type to go out to, like, you're gonna stand there in the fucking corner, try to be mysterious, like.
Not being serious, they're just socially awkward.
Yeah, well, introverts, yeah, those motherfuckers too. But like the
But
people
he's
that
referring to somebody
purposely,
that
yeah,
just
I'm
puts
talking about
on
the
this
people that
stoic-
purposely go out and talk about, I want to be this figure, the dark knight that nobody know. Like, you get the point.
Daddy issues.
Bro's just describing me.
Let's take a look at the strength.
Yeah, strength.
Batman.
Strength, and then
No,
it says
back to that.
mentally and physically and spiritually, like having strength.
Yeah.
Not just like brutal.
Talk to us how
Like
the
people just understand. What?
talk to us about how the army instills literally all three of these, because I'm pretty strongly believe that it does.
100%.
The army will make you strong if you're not strong. And if you're already strong, it'll make you tough.
It'll just make you stronger.
Yeah. It'll make if you go into the army and you're already physically fit. Plenty of those. There was a D2 college wrestler in my basic training. Dude was a monster. He was short, but he was a monster. He was already very physically tough and very mentally tough. So the drill sergeants looked at him. They were like, we have not much to teach you outside of the basics of being a soldier. There were plenty of other people that had no mental strength, no physical strength. I definitely didn't have much mental strength coming in. I was already fairly conditioned from wrestling and lacrosse in high school, and I came into it, I was like, alright, I can do this physically. Mentally, this is hard. I was definitely in a tough spot mentally because I'm away from home for the next 7 months, because that was my basic training and my AIT. So I am on my own. I have no support. It's all me. It's all my mental strength. That's where it will forge your mental strength. You have to be on your own. If you've already been on your own, you're going to see some scary shit. You're going to be frightened. You're going to be scared. You're going to be very uncomfortable. You're going to be angry. You're going to be sad. You're not going to be happy.
Right.
So you have to be mentally strong. The food they feed you is not that good. You can't find solace in that. Sometimes it's good.
But
Yeah.
you either
Yeah.
eat that or you go hungry. It's your choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think a lot of that can also, one, obviously bring discipline, but at the same time, when you are putting yourself through those difficulties and through that much mental struggle and all that kind of stuff, especially from the beginning of time when you don't really know people, it can also bring you close to people. You know what I mean? And it can.
It definitely brings you out of your shell.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that too. And in the beginning of the time where you don't really know anybody, or nobody really wants to even bother tell you or feel really empathy for you because they don't really know you. But as the times goes on, that's why it's easier, and you obviously there's just a lot of things. What I'm trying to say, it's not just one thing. It's one, you are more adaptable. You're just becoming stronger, but at the same time you're building that bond with your team that you are able to go through the difficulties together. And you can just take away a lot of things through strength. And as a man, you need to have that, because I mean, let's just take a scenario, right? Like physical strength. I think we've kind of lost that, but what I like now is we're kind of gaining it back, especially with gym and stuff. A lot of the young guys are starting to work out, like when they're 13, 14, they already want to go to the gym. Not everybody has the same reason to go to the gym and work out. Some of them just really want to do it because they see the steroid heads and just posting on social media and they're, oh, I want to have followers, that kind of stuff. But I mean, just a realistic scenario, you're walking out, you're walking in the street with your girl next to you, and a robber comes up. What do? You're gonna rely on your girl to defend you, right? So you have to have physical strength. There's gonna be a lot of you can't prepare for these stuff. You just have to be strong, and you just have to be capable of, resisting that scenario when it does come up. And thinking that, oh, it's not gonna happen, it's just being naive. So better to prepare yourself for the worst situations, and expecting the best. Obviously, you just can't get away with it. The world
Army
is
has
cruel.
a saying for that. It is better to have something and not need it than to need it and
not have it. Exactly, and that's really what it is.
Yeah, that's good.
That's well said.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
actually
we
curious.
do
What did
need
they do with the wrestler? He said he was mentally strong. He was physically strong.
Oh, they just kind of made fun of him. They're like, haha, you're short.
Okay. So
That was basically
That's one way to mentally toughen you
yeah,
up.
exactly.
I mean, he's like in his, I think, early 20s, so he was like, yep, heard that line before. You got anything new? Yeah, start pushing. That was about it. Start pushing.
Oh, stop.
Those are the people that can bench 3 plates, though.
Yeah.
Those strong arms help. Let's take a dive into wisdom.
Oh,
Man, I'm pretty retarded. I'm not good here.
hey man, don't
No,
say
I
that.
really like the idea of what was mentioned in the video that we all watched prior, but wisdom is not necessarily having just knowledge, as much knowledge as you have. Yeah, that's definitely going to help. But it's the accumulation of not only having knowledge, but also making the right decision with the knowledge you know. Making the right judgment is not... It's the same
The experience
shit,
that you
right?
go through in life and learning from your mistakes and failures to then, having a proper judgment or proper decision making ability when that scenario does come up. I think that's wisdom. Because a lot of times you don't really call somebody that will just tell you a textbook definition of things or necessarily knowledge about a specific subject and give you a rundown. You call them intelligent, smart, genius, that kind of stuff. But wisdom are usually for, and this resonates the most with an elderly person because they've gone through that life. They've experienced the diversity of things, and they have the experience with the knowledge, and they applied different things in their lives and just kind of understood what works and what doesn't, that type of thing. And that's usually people that have wisdom. I mean, Ira was an old guy, but the wisdom that he had and the ability to sometimes not even use his full strength, even though he could easily, be able to beat somebody because of being smart and knowing when to act, knowing when to kind of let them capture him when he was being captured, all that kind of stuff. And just really the ability to use your opponent's strength against you. Like that's also being smart, and also using the wisdom to acknowledge that you don't necessarily need to go head to head with somebody when you can just use your wisdom and your experience to understand how you can defeat them, I guess. I don't know.
Well put.
And there's a very fine line of a distinguish between a smart person, a wisdom and a wise person.
A wisdom
Well, no, and Socrates, we put this quote here, Socrates says it perfectly. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing.
Yeah.
No matter how smart you are, you do not know nothing. I'm sorry, you know nothing. Fuck. I really do believe that. I really do believe that because the whole essential point is if you just believe that everything you know right now is the only thing you need to know, that's the second you become complacent, and the second you become complacent is the second you become stupid. You have to continuously expand your knowledge, and that's what a wise person does compared to just a simple smart. You can be
Yeah.
smart, but that doesn't always accumulate to being wise.
Yeah, wisdom itself is just understanding that there's so many things you don't know. That is already wisdom
Exactly.
itself, and
Wisdom
then
is
you gain more wisdom by
knowing that you
living that
know a lot, but you still don't know
Exactly.
so much.
yeah, right.
You never. Oh, oopsies.
Oop.
It got caught under my foot.
Happens.
Love? Once he fixed it.
Love.
I feel like a lot of people are kind of afraid. Like I like this one because a lot of men nowadays are like given this impression by the red pill community that you shouldn't show this side of emotion, you shouldn't show this side of affection towards like someone else or whatever, but it's flawed in the
Why do
sense.
they say that?
They wanna be
because if
Batman.
you're-
They think it's
if
weak.
you're yeah, because
Why
they
do they-
think it's weak.
because it want to make you a sigma alpha male.
Yeah, why did I'm
Do
asking?
you want me to answer that?
Yeah, try.
I think in order to love somebody, you have to be selfless. You have to also be vulnerable, because when you're in a position when you love somebody, and this also happens in relationships too. When you are in love, sometimes you can be in so much love, I guess, or so you feel so much love towards that person that you don't really expect the worst out of them sometimes. And that's, yeah, you could say that's being naive, but to some extent, you have to really open up yourself, I think, in order to love. In order for love to grow between two people in a relationship, you have to be able to open up yourself, right? And be vulnerable in a situation and tell them who you really are. And that takes guts, that takes courage, right? And that's what love is. You know, being able to say how do you feel about somebody, and then them telling you, I don't really feel the same towards you, that hurts. We've
That's
all
a hard
experienced
thing to
something.
hear,
It's
yeah.
a hard thing to battle with, and sometimes what people do is they're like, you know what, I'm gonna take the revenge. I'm gonna use this person for my own benefit, and I'm not really gonna give them love, because if I give them love, then I end up being hurt. But that's just feminism. That's just being what's it called? Feminine. You know what I mean? It's like being scared to open yourself up, but you have to do that in order to feel love in the first place. How are you gonna get love if you don't give love, right? And sometimes you don't have to even think about necessarily receiving the amount of love that you give. That's the thing with love. Like it's your choice to give love, and it puts you in a vulnerable position, and you're acknowledging this. You know you're in that position, and you know that you're gonna get hurt if that person leaves you or whatever. This especially happens in relationships, and when you acknowledge that and you're still doing it, I think it just shows a lot about your character and the strength, rather than saying I'm just suppressing this emotion. Because if you just suppress that emotion, I think you're coping, and you're also lying to yourself, because love is one of the biggest, I think, motivating factors that keeps all of us going, right? The love you feel towards something, the love you feel towards someone is always the driving factor. Like when you love your country, you're willing to put your life down. That's love right there. So if you say I don't have love and I don't want to give love, I mean, good luck, but I don't think it's gonna work well for you. So love, I think, is a major component to being a masculine person, being able to love, because I don't know, I think it's strong, and it's
It is like it's
Yeah,
strong, because
it's-
this is a thing, like we're social creatures. Me and Josh were talking about this, and being loved is a part of human nature, or like having the desire to be loved by someone else, and having the desire to show love to somebody else is a
Yeah.
natural human desire for us creatures. And for you to go out and be taught by this red pill community that I have to hide this feeling of some sort, it's bullshit. And I hope that your first course of action is to just like fucking erase that part of the mind that's telling you that's how you need to follow through with it, because you're holding yourself back through a lot of interactions, but also in the way to get to know yourself. Because
For sure.
being able to understand and show love is part of you understanding your true self, which is why, like we were mentioning, through authenticity. and yet here you are being taught to cover that up. Like, that's bullshit, and not show that like side of weakness. Like, I'm not saying go out now and like fucking suck everybody off and talking about I love you so much. I'm saying that know that it's not a bad thing to show this side of like love. Like, I'm showing emotion.
Yeah.
Isn't necessarily weakness. It's not
I
being
think it's
able
a strength.
It is. The weakness is not being able to control the emotion.
Yeah.
Showing emotion like this is not weakness. So do not get the two twisted, because apparently that's the new trend on.
There's no better way of portraying this than the movie Good Will Hunting.
I never watched it.
So
Yeah,
Explain why.
What is it?
Good Will Hunting.
Explain why, since nobody watched it.
What?
Yeah.
What is
no, you did with Matt Damon.
No, seriously.
And
What happens in the movie? I probably don't remember the name, and I've probably seen it.
Come on.
Like, what happens in-
We talked about this movie before.
Really?
What's the actor that died? What's the actor that died in Good Will?
I didn't watch Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, who's the
Let me see.
actor on the right? No? The actor died.
Oh, I haven't seen that movie, but now that you said it, I will.
Well, essentially, it's. I don't really want to go into detail what it's about, but realistically, this guy is someone that never showed his emotion, and
Listen, bro.
you know what? I'm just not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna spoil it. I don't want to say much about it, but
I'm
that's the perfect
Is anyone
epitome
here to
of
watch it?
what?
Probably not.
No.
What about your
No. Yeah, it's the perfect epitome of
Turn off the video. There'll be a
masculinity in terms of love.
Cut it out.
We'll actually make you watch 2 hours of the movie, then come back to the podcast.
Yeah, we'll put a short ad break.
Yeah, short, just short.
And the kind of to answer of what you asked, right? When you asked, he was like, about love, right? So I feel like it also has to do with social media. Social media portrays this thing as, you know, when you love someone and you love your girlfriend and stuff like that, you're a weak man. And I don't know why it's. I feel like it was.
She has
all
to
social
love you,
media's
but you
fault,
don't,
I'm
you
not
don't
gonna
love
lie.
her.
Because it was like the whole community of, was it Red Pill?
Yeah.
It was a Red Pill,
Red
right? Yeah, Red Pill community basically like saying that, you know, if you love someone, especially a girl, if you have a girlfriend or something, you're not a stork man or all this type of shit. So I feel like that's where it came from, to be honest.
A lot
Yeah,
of it.
it's more like, I feel like it's more so like you can't go out in public and show affection to your girlfriend without being shamed, because
Dude, honestly, I feel like that's where the whole, like, you know, friends
Sometimes even
nowadays,
girls are
they
weird
just
about
make
it.
fun of each other.
Josh actually does this shit. When me and Saj like gives her some affection, you're like, you're not allowed to do that.
He's just feminine, maybe. I don't know.
Jelly.
It's funny as fuck.
And also,
That's,
dude,
it's pretty messed up.
you guys also
I'm
notice...
single here, and this guy is showing.
Are you jealous of your
What?
brother?
What? This is unacceptable.
Listen, just make his girlfriend jealous by kissing him instead.
Where's the humility? Where's the humility? Like, this is so fucked up.
It's not.
Dude, he's in love. Why is that fucked up?
God.
He's fucked.
But I think also changed friendships, I'm not gonna lie.
For sure.
Like, we're not gonna name anyone, but I'm pretty sure you guys can probably understand where I'm going with this. But we were around our friends, and then they would always be making some weird jokes to each other. They would be making fun of each other. They would call it a joke, but to the point, like, it would get extreme. They would start arguing, and they would be like, "Oh no, I'm better than you," or "No, I'm better." And I feel like that's where love doesn't play in. And I'm pretty sure in Army, you guys don't do those stuff. Like, you guys actually love each other. Well, yeah, but like
We
not to
definitely
an
make fun
extent.
of each other,
Yes,
but there are
but in a
hard lines
different
in
way.
the
But that's
different
also
way.
an expression of
Because
love. I
high
love
school-
to
high
tease
school
and make fun
friends
of
are
Josh,
different.
but that's just my way of expressing
Yeah.
love.
I mean, I think that's just brothers.
Me
Yeah.
calling
Yeah,
you a
see-
fat fuck is my way of expressing that.
Right, but
Exactly.
then I'm talking about when it gets too toxic.
Yeah, yeah. When it
Like,
becomes
in high
unhealthy,
school,
that's
in
a
high
different
school.
story.
It gets toxic. A lot of friends
Mhm.
are toxic. That's not friendship anymore. That's being toxic to each other because every single day you kind of feed off of making fun of someone and then you calling us saying, "Oh, it's a joke."
Just only makes you feel good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's not just what I've noticed, especially with you. Because, dude, I got, like, I'm speaking of this because I kind of went through that. I thought that it was actual love towards my friends, but it wasn't. It was actually getting toxic. You know what I mean? Like, they would say something, a joke, and then it's like, sometimes I could let go, but it was like, oh, I'm not being a man now. I just gotta come back with it's like a comeback, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're sitting at a lunch table and they make a joke, and instead of, like, laughing it off, being like, yo, you got me with that, you had to say something back, or everybody would be like, ooh, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's
Yeah.
where the friendship kind of got lost with, it became toxic.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
you gotta have a proper understanding. And one more thing I want to add is Iroh shows big love towards Zuko too, especially in the moments where Zuko just, when he was in prison and Zuko just told him a lot of bad things and was blinded by the love that Iroh was giving him because Zuko was the character that just was resenting him for, helping him and even helping, quote unquote, Zuko's enemies and all that kind of stuff. But what Iroh had to understand is through the other traits of patience, humility, integrity, all that kind of stuff, to understand that Zuko's young, he needs to learn, and I have to be there for him. Because giving up is easy, right? And saying, oh yeah, if this person says I don't love you, and I can just say, yeah, I don't love you either, and just leave them alone and stuff. I mean, is that really love, or is it sticking with them because you acknowledge that they just need you there, and showing them love will eventually bring them to light? Because you don't have to change your character and who you are or how do you feel about somebody based on how they feel about you, right? If somebody says, I don't love you, and even if it's a family member, right? It doesn't really give you the right, in my opinion, to say, oh, I don't love you either because you don't love me. It's like, what if they just lack understanding of what love is? What if they lack an understanding of how to properly love somebody? You know what I mean? So when you have that understanding, that wisdom on what love is, and you're able to give it freely without necessarily having to expect anything back, I think that's true love right there. You don't need to necessarily have to wait for the response back or
like
some kind of...
love is selfless.
Yeah.
It's
Selfless, yeah.
Exactly. So being able to give that back. Yeah, that video is 1,000% getting linked in the description.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
All my Avatar fans, check that out because that is...
You're gonna
even
love
if
it.
you're not, dude. Josh said it was boring, whatever, but you get a really good idea of like what it looks like to be masculine.
Yeah, and if you do watch Avatar, that would be even better.
Oh my god!
If you watch Avatar, you just have to.
It's entertaining and it gives you all the good principles of masculine.
Very good
No,
principles.
like
yeah.
the video. You haven't seen it, but you already like it, right?
Yes, I already like it.
That's how you know.
Exactly.
Masculinity within itself.
Wow, what an episode, right?
Yeah, well, this was a long one. We dove into
Thanks
a
for coming
lot of stuff.
It was an honor.
Yeah, David, once again, you think, yeah, it's always interesting for me to like see the life of an army member and how their perspective looks like because that's such a huge thing in this country. So I love like seeing what their daily life looks like and their perspectives.
Respect, soldier.
Respect, absolutely.
And you know what I really liked about these stuff? They all come back to one another.
Every single one is
in every
downstream
way.
of the other,
Exactly.
or they're tying together. It's like big
Exactly.
ass spider web.
Yeah,
So.
and that's just the great thing about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. You
So
know
that's
the
why you
national
can't just
anthem.
have one trait.
No, I don't.
What?
I don't know it by heart.
Cut it.
Fuck.
What? All of them?
I don't know the national anthem by heart.
I thought it's like a one.
Do what?
Oh shit.
Say.
I know. Yeah, I kind of know the beginning, but like the middle
I think
part,
I-
I'm lost.
I thought that's like a requirement.
Dude, I think it should be, bro.
Yeah,
it
like,
should be, right?
No.
I don't.
Dude, every event you go to, that's not the first thing they say. Oh,
should know.
say, okay.
George, do you know Georgian anthem? Fully?
Yes.
Oh
And
wow.
I didn't know. I was like, bro, I'm a Georgian.
gonna
I don't
learn
know
that,
fucking Georgian anthem. It's kind
Yeah.
of crazy.
Yeah, I think I should learn
You
both
know, though. I'm
of the
gonna put you
anthems.
accountable to
American.
it. You're in the army.
I know he knows it.
There's
I feel the energy. He knows that because masculine men.
Patience. Have patience, Josh.
And the night.
And the Rockets
You know-
red
And the
flare.
Rockets red flare. The bombs bursting in the air.
Gave
Through
the
the light.
that our
Flag was still there.
Do you actually know it?
Dude, that's a beautiful song. Come
What
on.
comes out of this guy?
Did I not do it?
I think he sang that pretty
I
well.
love you, bro.
I
but
could.
Yeah, you gotta get better.
Sing it then, bitch.
I ain't singing none.
You actually know it.
Nah, yeah, kind of.
Sounds like femininity over here to my right.
The pledge as well.
I know it.
I pledge allegiance
say
to
what-
to
Flag of
like.
the United States of America.
Ever since I got out of high school, they stopped doing that.
I know. Like,
They
the
stopped doing
in
that.
middle
Really?
school we did
Well,
it.
yeah, I don't think they
No,
stopped
they
doing it.
don't.
I
They
just
do
It
that.
forgot
would be
about
a
it.
Every
requirement in
big
my
event,
school,
right?
middle school. It would be a requirement in middle school, like in the
To be
morning.
honest, but kids are free now. They don't have to. They can sit down because they say F the
No,
country,
not
bro.
the
Dude,
Pledge
they're
of
removing
Allegiance.
a lot of
That's different.
values
You're
from
thinking
people,
of the Pledge
man.
of Allegiance. That's like,
Like, that's-
I pledge to the flag, whatever. Like
Yeah, that guy.
Damn, you just gave up, huh?
That is, dude. I think the words.
That's
that
that's
in
also
there
part of
were
it. But
very
national
strong.
anthem is different from the Pledge of Allegiance.
Say
Say it.
What is it?
Say it. Yeah,
Say
yeah, yeah. Come on, come on.
I pledge
Talk.
allegiance
to the flag of the United
Yeah,
States of
it's
America.
to the republic for which it stands,
There,
one nation,
there's-
under God,
You know why they took it?
indivisible,
Under God.
liberty and justice for all. God bless America.
Yeah, dude, you got that great. What the
I'm
fuck?
telling you.
Wait,
They don't want God.
I pledge allegiance to
Dude,
the
on
United
every
States of
single
America
dollar,
and-
on every single
It's
dollar,
up to
it
God.
says "In God We Trust."
Exactly.
Masculinity
That was very masculine of us. What you're doing is very feminine.
about it?
What we said wasn't masculine. We're not talking about masculinity, Mike.
Of course.
Dude, don't drift away from the topic.
I'm a
You heard
drifter,
me?
bro. I'm a drifter.
Don't do that.
I'm a drifter.
Let me have a little bit of fun. I was having fun singing. Okay.
Hey,
Yeah, dude, humor.
Yeah, comedic relief.
We're singing. We're yo Batman, chill out. All right. All right.
Who thinks Josh is a Batman?
Not me. I ain't Batman.
Damn.
I'm Josh from Nikolai.
Humble.
Boom.
Humility.
There you go. That's better.
Integrity,
I know you're a fucking
love, wisdom.
All right, David. Oh wait. Oh, those 3 questions.
David, we like for the the guest to shout. Oh shit.
3
What?
questions.
For the guest.
David, what is your best advice to somebody in life?
I'm gonna go back
To
on
go shortly.
an old answer. Be adaptable.
Be adaptable.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
good.
let's go.
Nice.
What is your personal drive? What is it that keeps you going in life?
My personal drive?
I was begging.
I just want to be the best version of myself. Again, to quote Socrates once more, it is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty his body can be.
So beautiful.
Love that.
So beautiful. I love it. He's hungry. Protein. Jersey's protein.
Just look sexy.
Like him.
Who doesn't want to look sexy?
Yeah, right. What is one problem that we face as society in today's world, and how can we overcome that? Like, what is the one big issue that you see happening with people?
Hate.
Hate.
There's too much hate.
Yeah, we need
There's
more
an
love. Right?
unprecedented amount of hate. A lot of.
What the fuck was it?
hate. Oh.
Is it?
Is it?
Yes.
This?
There's not
I
enough.
swear this is the Black Lives Matter.
Unity. Well, that's what they made it. Yeah. But
Oh,
it's also
okay,
part of
okay.
like just love.
Oh.
I guess.
No
hate.
We will. What's up?
What were
What'd
you
they
saying,
say?
David?
I can't.
We're
What?
drifting away, guys. This is Captain. Yes, Captain.
But yeah, I think you brought up a very, very
Yeah,
good
there's-
point.
Spread more love. Stop spreading hate. I know a lot of people say it, but not enough people do it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I feel like if we have more similar as humans than differences, even though we do have our differences. But sometimes what we like to do, and I'm a victim of this too sometimes, is we like to tell each other how we're different, right? But I think we need to talk more about how we can
victimizing
be like
You are.
unity, you know what I mean? And how can
I'm
we,
more similar to any one of you.
Yeah.
Like
Then
it
you-
doesn't
then you're
matter.
different.
Then I
Yeah,
am
exactly.
different.
Exactly, and I think that comes from, and we can show that more through love than saying, "Oh yeah, you're different, therefore I don't really like you because you're not like me." It's like, well, yeah, not everybody's gonna be like you, or you're not gonna be like everybody else, but it doesn't hold us back from love at all. It's a whole different concept. Just the understanding of you're different, but you can still resonate with each other deeply is love itself right there. So I'm glad you really put that out there too.
Yeah.
Like.
Everyone here shares 2 nuts.
I guess that's the biggest thing we have in common, us humans.
Us men.
us men, yeah.
It's the nuts, man.
Not the women. So wait, we can't resonate with women because they don't have nuts, or
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
exactly-
I guess that's we can't because Josh said it.
Yes, he is spoken.
Yes, Captain.
Josh, what was the question?
So you're sir.
Yeah, so we have a tradition of a previous guest
Mhm.
asking a question for next, and you will ask another question without knowing who the next guest is.
Mhm.
The question is, shout out Cole, what is the greater
Shout
problem
out to
in
Cole.
America? Is it moral or economical issues?
Moral. Moral.
Why?
through and through. Why? Because too many people think with their wallets and not enough with their hearts and their brains. They forget to see that at the end of the day, we are all humans.
He's giving
He's
a very
cooking.
very good
He's
answer.
fucking cooking like on a whole nother level right now.
interrupt him then, and let him keep talking.
Yeah, speaking about interrupting,
who said.
You're the one
don't talk over him.
You could have let him keep
Wait,
going.
we
You
also
would have
listen,
stopped.
man. Relax.
Oh, you're listening? What did he say? What did he
No,
say?
my intention. No. Here's the thing. My intention. Yo, look,
Yes, Captain.
Yo, my intention wasn't to tell you guys, oh, you're interrupting him or you're being rude. I was just trying to, tell you guys to pay attention because what he's actually saying is, I think, very important, and you can really get a lot of value from him because he's giving a very good answer. That was my understanding of why I wanted you guys to listen. That's all.
I was saying the number one issue today is more moral than it is economical. Because too many people think with their wallets, not enough with their heads and their hearts. They are forgetting to see that at the end of the day, we're all human. and the progress of not just one person individually, but the progress of all humanity as one is more important than seeing one extra dollar in your bank account and one less than someone else's.
Exactly.
God, what a beautiful answer.
Dude, love that,
Yes,
man.
Captain David.
Wow.
Well done. What question would you like to ask the next guest?
You don't know who they are.
I have no idea.
No.
Ooh, I gotta make this a good one, on. What is the importance of love?
Cool.
Interesting.
Great question.
Interesting.
What is the importance of love? Okay.
So, David, we
The
also have
importance
this thing where we
of
do
sex, you said?
we like to do this thing where we have the quota. You can just ignore him. We
He's
like to do
cooking.
this thing. We like to do this thing where we have our guest read out the quote of the day. So, if you may.
Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself less.
Boom.
I don't think you said that masculine enough.
Humility is not thinking less of yourself.
Oh, you have good
It's
voice impressions. What the fuck?
Thinking of yourself less.
Yeah, very good. And this is what Fricker
And
was
now,
hinting to.
you yell into the mic. That's more masculine.
Humility's not.
You're really what the
Dude,
fuck?
I'm telling you, you
Yeah, what
can
the
be
hell?
I
loud.
project. I try not to.
Yeah,
I
Mike
remember
likes
in
to
high
project.
school. I remember in high school, you would just
You
you
became
could do
very
it.
inauthentic right there.
Oh, my fault.
You conformed.
Dude, shout out. Somebody has to pull up the.
I got it. I have the
text
screenshot.
because
So, our shout
my
out
bad, I
is this is
erased it.
actually going to be an insightful comment. So, Astro Freeze Treats, shout out to you. He says this question: how can someone who has both an older and younger brother get them to see the bigger picture and work together as a team? Question mark. More info. They sell vintage clothing and I sell freeze-dried snack, but would like for us to open a retail shop, but they are scared of risk and are more focused on short-term goals. This is really interesting. So our friend Astro here is stuck in a situation where he wants to be willing to take the risk. Him and his brothers sell different things, but his brothers are holding him back in a way because they don't want to go out and take the risks and go big, essentially, go all in, quote unquote. So how would we approach this? How do you get your brothers on board with your idea?
I mean, first, I think you just explain the fact that everything is a risk in life. Might as well take the risk in something that you feel resonates with you and you feel that something good is going to come out of it. Because if you don't take the risk in something, you will never really know the full potential of what you are able to do. Just like how you said about your physical abilities or whatnot. You know, you have to be able to take the risk in order to see what can come out of it. And that's going to be a regret itself if you don't take that risk, because then you're going to be like, oh, I should have taken that risk. And it's okay if the other person doesn't come with you, whether that be your brother or your relative. Because at the end of the day, you are still capable of doing it if you believe you can do it. Because not everybody is able to tolerate the amount of risk that you can. But if you do truly feel like you want to take that risk, and you feel like that risk is really what's going to get you there, I mean, tell your brother or your relative, whoever it may be, hey, like, it's okay if you don't want to take the risk. I do. And just really have the courage and believe in yourself that you can do it. Because if you put your mind to it and if you believe that you can do it strong enough, I believe you can do anything, really. And that's just really what it comes down to.
Yeah, you like that. That's exactly what I was gonna say. And I don't necessarily know. I don't know who you are, Astro, and I don't know the things you're capable of. But I will say that the worst thing you could do is if you're really all in and you really want to focus with this freeze-dried snacks retail store. One of the worst things you could do is put this handicap on that because your brothers aren't
And
doing
give up
it
on
with
it.
you. You're gonna let it hold you back. When the reality is, you can definitely find other people for it, and that doesn't mean you're not gonna have your brother's support. They sell vintage clothing, so they know what it's like to have this product that they sell, whatever, to customers, whatever. So, it's like they're gonna be cheering for you on the sidelines. And again, this is beautiful because it doesn't. Of course, you may want it to be your brothers that are with you, but it doesn't have to be. And if you want me to tell you how you can get them on board, then I don't think I can do that. Though I'd tell you that I wouldn't force them to do something they wouldn't want to do. However, that doesn't mean you have to hold yourself back from this idea. I think these freeze-dried snacks are a big hit. Go for it.
We believe in you, bro.
Great success.
What'd you say?
Great success.
Oh,
Great success. Yeah.
Great success. So.
Okay. Thank you for the question.
David, beautiful episode. I mean, we
Oh, yeah.
definitely probably one of our longest ones, but we had a lot to cover, and I think we did it really well.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on
Thank you
and
for having me.
great conversation with all of you guys.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
We like to finish our episodes off by saying, do you know what it is?
No.
We like to finish it off by saying, bros think.
Think.
Fuck. I don't even know what it is.
What?
Think
It's okay.
big.
It's okay, dude.
Think
He's a human,
big.
dude.
I'm a,
Relax.
that wasn't very masculine. Josh is right.
Yo, he's right.
Don't be too masculine. You're being too masculine.
Yes, Captain.
Wait, guys, we forgot.
Please forgive me.
We actually forgot one though. We forgot.
Yo, did we?
We forgot aura.
Bro.
Come on,
got me.
now.
Go fuck yourself, dude.
Josh, you
Dude, I
can't
think we
explain
forgot
to them what aura is.
Captain, please.
Do you think you lose aura when you're not masculine?
Masculine aura, Josh.
With that being said,
Think big.
Think big, grow big. Peace.